Okay, guys. Ending this one, come across to the other one. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, ending now. Okay. Cool. Guys on YouTube, can you let me? Oops. Let me know if this is working. Turn the YouTube chat up. In the meantime, let's get in space. Want to welcome Doc up. Doc, hope you're doing well. How are you?
I'm well. Sorry that you lost the internet connection to your the professor. It's very interesting.
It's the Moosad, Doc.
Yes.
It's the Moosad.
Yeah, it's the Mossad. Mossad. Um, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, I think, leaving was widely expected because she seemed to be the only voice within the administration with any authority, other than Joe Kent, someone who reported to her while he was in office in the administration. Who was willing to release information to the public and to the voters that seemed to go toward, in one regard or another, exposing the activities of the intelligence community and the deep state prior to the current Trump administration. And as Trump is compromised by the intelligence agencies, and in my opinion, being blackmailed by the Epstein files, I think her time in office was inevitably going to be short. And as you mentioned with the professor, was widely predicted and expected. Um, I hope that the reasons that she gave in an ex post for why she was leaving, they had nothing to do with dissatisfaction with the job or the restrictions placed on her by Trump and the administration, but because she said her husband had a serious a diagnosis of bone cancer. So we will be sort of restrained in the discussion, pointing the finger at her dissatisfaction with the Zionist administration that she was serving in, and that seems to me wise. If in fact it's a construct that her husband has this cancer, or that she needs to leave her job to attend to him, um, and I think that's probably smart because I would expect that Tulsi Gabbard would be a leading candidate for executive office in uh, the next election, particularly for somebody like Joe Kent or Thomas Massey, who seeks to strike an independent chord consistent with American First priorities, goals, and objectives. American First, as distinguished from MAGA, which certainly was a guarantee by Trump as an America First candidate of no new wars, and certainly no new Gulf wars, something that he opposed vehemently as a private citizen when the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were going on. So again, there's signs that Trump's compromised in terms of the timing of a renewed attack. Um, yes, the Hajj is very, very important to Saudi Arabia, but Trump doesn't seem to care all that much about Saudi Arabia and what its goals and objectives are here. Saudi Arabia understands how powerful a military force Iran has. And if that was doubted before hostilities broke out, it was, I think, confirmed with Iranian attacks on the Gulf states, the destruction of the radars that all those countries use to help predict and prevent attacks on those countries under the umbrella of America's military power there in the Gulf. I'm trying to find it now, but there was a post from Trump in the last 24 hours where he basically said The king of Saudi Arabia loves me. And so if we assume that the king would be asking Trump, hey, don't attack during the Hajj because we make a lot of money, or we're faithful, and would be very, very disruptive to the faith of all Muslims in the Gulf and from around the world who travel to Saudi Arabia, as you mentioned, for the Hajj, the observance of the holiday. Um, and I also don't think it's wise, not that Trump is wise in any of this, wise to, in effect, announce that an attack is imminent by canceling his trip to Florida, if that's where it was, or New Jersey. I guess I'm not quite sure, and to not go to his son's wedding, which on its face would be a huge, huge deal. And that seems to connote that, well, there's a huge, huge deal happening in the government, which I guess we could expect would be an attack, a renewed attack on Iran. But again, I don't see, as the professor was mentioning before he got cut off, how this turns out well for America or the Gulf states. It might certainly would be bad for Iran, if they went after consumer infrastructure targets like power plants and desalination plants and the nuclear plant. America and Israel and the Gulf countries don't have any protection against an attack from Iran with missiles and drones. And America doesn't stand any reasonable chance of having boots on the ground be successful based on the interviews you've done and the information I've read and what I've learned in 67 years of life. Um, that would cause Iran to back off, to in effect surrender. I don't see that that's going to be the case, or that it's even possible. And I think Gulf states and Israel and America would come out the worst for that attack. But maybe it's easier done now to not gain consensus from American military and intelligence sources, but they have to be compliant and have them keep secrets about private discussions that lead to whatever acts the military takes on Trump's orders, because Tulsi will be out of the mix and not part of the communications that obviously would go on in the event of a full-scale attack on Iran, as processed through the 17 intelligence agencies that reported to her. So getting her out of the way now would seem to be a precursor, and as you said, widely predicted by Zionist sources like, I hate mentioning her name to give her any sort of credibility whatsoever, like Laura Loomer, who've been
Doc,
consistently.
Doc,
Yeah,
Laura Loomer is like literally the most powerful person probably in the world right now.
she's a horse-faced dog
Oh,
that
wait,
we've had in the space.
disavow. Um,
Okay,
disavow.
well, that's
Doc, I want to come back to the United States of America. I was literally like, but anyway, but she's so powerful though. Come on, she's literally got Trump on control, right?
well, that's what she said. But I mean, come on, I don't believe it for a second. I think she's just out there, shooting her mouth off, singing the song of the Zionists, which Trump is, bound to comply with. And as far as her visiting the White House and so on and so forth, who cares? I mean, Joe Rogan was there and had more effect and a more consequential effect on the lives of Americans, with him getting Trump to allow for uh, um, psychedelics, or a certain form of psychedelic, to help with post-traumatic stress syndrome with our military people in particular. That's more consequential than anything Laura Loomer has done or said. And she has my vote for the world's most horrible person. The other candidates would be Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, and the director of WHO, the World Health Organization.
I would vote for Bibi.
Yeah, Bibi's there, but given who would replace Bibi, who the predicted lead candidates are if he loses office and loses election, are just as bad, if not worse. I don't think much is going to change with Bibi. I don't think Bibi's in charge. I don't know who is, but I don't think it's Bibi.
Fair enough. Doc, I've got a few more questions for you. Just want to welcome David onto the stage as well. Beatrix.
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Well, the pantomime continues, and I don't have any thoughts on this anymore, to be honest with you. I just don't know what to say. I mean, I don't think he's going to do anything, Trump. I think this is just to keep the pantomime going. I have no idea what's going on in American politics. I just don't know. I do agree. Laura Loomer has certainly a lot of power at the moment. She's a force to be, I disagree with you, Doc. I think she is a force to be reckoned with in America. I'm just glad that Suleiman's on the right side of her in that, she takes it in a stride in the past when he has debated her or smashed her, and they just keep a distance from each other. But apart from
Wait,
that,
he smashed Laura Loomer? Is that what you said? Is this news?
British style, yeah,
Oh my God,
They-
Doc, not American style. That's Donald Trump. Not don't sue me,
It's
Laura. Don't sue
about,
me.
yeah. Before she used to come on our spaces, right? Before the genocide, and in the past, when she's been on spaces with Suleiman, he's literally, had it out with her and stuff, and so they were cordial to each other, and then the genocide happened, and then Trump came in, and then everything changed. But my point is that I have no idea what's going on in American politics at the moment. I just think that I look back to the days before Trump came into the White House. And yes, we had a genocide to contend with. I see posts every day of what's happening in Gaza and Lebanon. And let me tell you something, the genocide has not ended. It's still going on in Gaza, and it's also moved to Lebanon. So it's still there. So that aside, when I think about the time under Biden, it seems like a calmer time. I just think that Trump just needs the news cycle constantly, and he's driving the world crazy constantly. But he's a narcissistic egomaniac, and he needs people to constantly be talking about him, and that's what we're witnessing at the moment. So let's see what happens. That's it from me, Suleiman. I don't have anything to. I don't know what to say on this anymore. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens indeed. Just want to welcome David. And David, give us your thoughts. And if you could do me a favor and not mention any person who's not on the space or anyone else, that'd be brilliant. But go ahead, give us your thoughts.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, I would say that every lie has an expiration date. And the lie that Israel doesn't control America, and the lie that Jewish supremacy isn't a problem, that's really, it's done. It's like old milk. And what we saw, what Trump is doing now, I think, it feels like the administration, along with Israel, are like criminals that hear the sirens coming while they're robbing the jewelry store. They know the jig is up. The currency of their credulity is absolutely collapsing to nothing, their believability. And what we saw with Thomas Massey, the whole nation felt the chill of that. The whole nation, because Suleiman, if I said to Beatrice, I'm a great guy, and Suleiman agrees, and I handed Suleiman $100 and said, "You agree, don't you?" Well, it would kind of give it away, right? I mean, I'd kind of need to hide that for that to work. But that's what Israel just did. And of course, Mrs. Taylor Greene, tweeted out or posted out, "Look, here's AIPAC's post bragging that we conquered another American district and we own that now." So this is really getting chilling. And I'm sorry, but we cannot unsee the connection between the Epstein files, between what happened with Charlie Kirk, at least what we conjecture around that, and then what's happening now. So it's really interesting, I think. And Suleiman, I'm not really concerned with, I don't really bother what I agree with Doc about withholding judgment about Tulsi Gabbard's announcement reputedly because of her husband's bone cancer. As someone who's married to a cancer researcher, that generally has a little bit more longer of a tail, but I don't know when it started. But no doctor has corroborated that. I mean, nor are they allowed to, unless the patient calls it out themselves or the hospital. But what we do know is that she never called out the genocide. What we do know is that she didn't pull a Joe Kent. She didn't say, "I disagree with this." These are times that try men's and women's souls. And if you are not willing to speak out against evil then you should never represent anything, including chief dog catcher, local city council person. So I think this great awakening, I think the tipping point when we look back a year, 5 years from now, will be the Thomas Massey thing. I think that's the big one. Tulsi saw that. This is a person who had a 96 rating liberty score in America. And even though in America, liberty isn't on the tongue of every American, it's still in our heart. We still have this sort of DNA, this sort of idea that we should be free. And remember, our country was founded upon declaring our independence from another country. And I think the time has come for to do that once again in the direction of Israel. What do you think of that, my friend?
I think you make some great points, David. I totally agree with everything you just said now. My only concern is, and this is why I'm glad Dr. Michael's come up as well. So I want to welcome G, she dropped his up, is that and Dr. Michael, I want to bring you in this conversation as well. Thanks for coming. And obviously because you're part of Azabak, this is an important conversation to have. What I see is before October the 7th, having these conversations were not permissible. Beatrix and Doc did a space where essentially got mass reported, they got shadow banned. I did a space and it basically caused me a lot of issues. And so it wasn't, and after October 7th, we saw a great awakening and people woke up, and people who before October 7th hadn't woken up woke up after. And so the people, without a doubt, are against Israel. But you know what? The UK isn't a good example, where the people have always been, if you as a number, have always been against Israel, and yet nothing changed in the government. All our parties are completely occupied. And actually, the US is a lot more progressing in the sense of at least you have large influences like Tucker Carlson, like Candace Owens, and various others who are against Israel. We don't even have that. But one of the things that gave me hope about the US was that it did seem like there was going to be a shift in the political landscape. But if you look at the political landscape since October the 7th, actually, the Israelis have taken a bigger control of the government. More anti-Zionist candidates are losing this spot rather than, and no, I can't think of hardly any that are winning. You have people like Cory Bush, people like, I always forget what the guy's name, Bauman, I think his name is. You have, what do you call it again, Massey now. Or you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who essentially didn't lose, but kind of was removed from office and the Zionists replaced. When you look at the shift that's happened politically, it is more of a grip that they've got over the United States of America. This was something I was going to explore with Gibbs. But Beatrice, your hand up before we get Dr. Michael and jump in. And well done, well trained.
Just real quick, breaking
No.
news before that. Just seeing a post, and this is from the New York Post, that Donald Trump Jr. and Bettina, his now wife, were married in the Bahamas before the ceremonial wedding that Trump is now not going to.
Oh, so it might be family drama. Might be family drama. That's why he didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrix?
Right? Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't
No,
approve of
maybe
a
his
dog.
family
Well,
got married without him or something.
I thought he was going out with the woman who used to be married to Gavin Newsom, who was a Fox News host. I can't remember her name, but anyway, he found somebody else. I'll send you a link to the article.
Maybe that's the arranged marriage Trump wanted him to have. Maybe he's just gone and eloped without his dad's permission. Who knows?
Maybe
Dog?
Bettina is a member of Mossad's softer side.
Oh no, he'd approved then. Trump would
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
approve that.
I
He'd
don't know
sign it
who
off.
she. I never heard of her before, so I'll show you this article. Too funny. Sorry for interrupt. But
Or
breaking
she's
news.
just pregnant. Or she's
No,
just
no
pregnant.
problem.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they've got that much honor, David, to marry somebody for that reason. But the point I wanted to make was I wanted to come back to David on a couple of things. So when you say Israel's doing this, I think that's just passing responsibility. It's America that's doing this. And it might be doing it. It's AIPAC that's doing this, and that is firmly in America that they're doing this, right? They might be doing it for Israel or to make sure, whatever reason, that the politics stays tilted that way and they have control. But it's America that's doing this. Also, yes, you're right about Tulsi Gabbard, but we have to differentiate between all the people who have spoken against Israel. Some people have spoken against Israel simply because they do not want American taxes to go to Israel. And that's it, right? And that's fine, because even that is massive. Okay, if Israel didn't have American funding, then the whole landscape in the Middle East would be something different. So I don't criticize that. But if America wasn't funding Israel and it stopped today, and in a month's time there was a genocide in Gaza, those people probably wouldn't speak up because they're not concerned about the Middle East. They just do not want their taxes going there, which is fine because that's America first, right? And so when you say Tulsi Gabbard didn't actually call out the genocide, neither did Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie never actually criticized Israel for committing a genocide. What he kept saying, and you can search his profile, and I've monitored this for a long time, he said, we should not be funding Israel. We should not be funding Israel. He's never used the term genocide when it comes to what is actually happening in Gaza. He's never posted anything about Mirab School, you know, the school that was bombed in Iran the first day, the kids that were killed, the kids that were burnt in Gaza. That was never his focus. So I want to make sure we stay on fact where he's concerned. He was America first in that he has repeatedly said our taxes should not be going to any foreign nation. And unlike some of the American Congress people, I saw, who was it the other day? Who's that half Indian chick? What's her name? Who was like, not Somalia, not this, not that, but she never mentioned not Israel, and she got community noted.
Yeah. Nancy Mace, was it? I don't know who. I'm not sure who.
That's it. And she got community
That's
noted.
hilarious.
So unlike, it was hilarious. Unlike her, Thomas Massie has always called out Israel and says we shouldn't be funding Israel. That's all I want to say.
My friend, I want to agree with you, though. Our agency, and this is what I say to my fellow Americans, you know, you cannot be enslaved by this, by a foreign power or Jewish supremacy. You cannot be part of this, if you want to put it that way, and your government be, by extension, representing you in that regard without your culpability. You know, Edmund Burke, I think, said that all that's required for evil to succeed is for good men to say nothing. And the fact that we aren't saying nothing, the fact that we aren't saying, or not enough of us, calling it a genocide. You know, the fact that if our politicians and our government, which is the most powerful in many ways militarily on earth, is willing to do all of this, then they're doing it to us too. Solzhenitsyn made this point. He said, you know, tyrannical governments, when they make war on other countries, the ultimate purpose is to tyrannize over their own people. So I agree with you. We cannot abrogate our own personal agency, which is why I call it out and we have to say it. And by the way, I don't think it's necessarily courageous in the same direction that other people do, because I don't have the guts to stand in front of the pearly gates when it's my time to do so and know that maybe the little girl that was hidden under the rubble in Gaza is going to determine, as she looks up at me, whether I get to go in or not. Did I speak on her behalf? No, this is a choice between good versus evil. And if American politicians can't call it out, then I'm just not going to vote at all because I don't believe them anymore.
Yeah, good on you, David. Do you know, I was actually looking, and I'll say this and I'll go to Dr. Michael, but I was thinking, what percentage of America's population is over 18? And what if they all put $5 in each? How many billions could they raise? And what could they do to turn the tide? Because I'm telling you, if you all everybody who's over 18 put $5 on the table and gave that to Trump, he'd stop supporting whoever he's supporting, and he'd do what the American people want, because he only acts with money. He's like the chimp that, you know, when you pay, he dances for you. That's what he does. I mean, that's the solution, private fundraising. But anyway, let's go to Dr. Michael.
Yeah, hi, everybody. Hi, Solomon and Beatrix, David, hi there. And Azaprop, good to see you. The question was raised by Solomon. The point was raised that, look, we're losing seats. We're losing seats in Congress to the Zionists. We're not gaining any right now. We lost Massey. We lost Marjorie Taylor Greene. As pointed out, we lost Bowman and we lost what's his name? The other guy they went after, I forget his name. Cory Bush. Yeah, Cory Bush. And so look, it's not been going well. Excuse me. Something in my throat here. It's not been going well. It's been going badly. And likewise, we need to step it up. I mean, we can't give up. We have to keep fighting. That's what AZAPAC came into existence to do, is to try to replace these Zionists with non-Zionist or anti-Zionist candidates And we're trying to pick at it largely from the right, because that's where the bulwark of Zionism is located. That's who does the political dirty work, the rhetorical heavy lifting, and all, of course, the constant funding. So that's why we're trying to attack from the right, get some anti-Zionists to take over positions that were held by Zionist Republicans. And the thing is that you mentioned that Massey never said anything about genocide. He's only saying, you know, we shouldn't be sending money there. Now, that's exactly what ASAPAC's position is, because we don't want to get into debates about what Zionism is and whether we want the state of Israel to exist. Listen, I don't believe personally, if we had the funds, U.S. funds withdrawn from Israel, I don't believe they would exist like they exist right now. They would not be able to carry out the kind of belligerence and hostility, you know, to engage in the kind of aggression that they do in that region if it wasn't for the U.S. backing them up and constantly coming to their aid and constantly sending them arms and sending them Iron Dome missiles and on and on and on, money and so on and so forth. But ASAPAC just holds strictly that we don't want our money going to pay for Israel's depredations in the Middle East. We do not want any money going to Israel. Now, that being said, we said we don't have a position on whether Israel should exist or not. And as far as we're concerned, Zionism to the American citizen and taxpayer or American resident is simply the extortion of taxpayers and the blackmail and bribery of our political class for the benefit of Israel. That's all it means to us, because we don't want to get into debates about, well, there's this kind of Zionism, that kind of Zionism, there's all these different Zionisms. This is all it represents to us as Americans, I believe, is that it's an extortion racket used to get taxpayer money to feed the military-industrial complex, to then feed Israel the endless supplies for endless war and aggressions against others in the region and further than the region. You know, I looked into one time I was accused by a debater that he said you didn't care about any other genocides before the Gaza genocide. I don't hear you saying anything about any other genocides. Well, I mean, I'm against all genocide, and I said, for example, the Rwandan genocide was also horrible, and I'll speak against that. By the way, Israel funded it. So they sent arms, I should say. They sent arms for that particular, to the Hutu. So this is not their first rodeo. Anyway, that's all I have right there.
Yeah, see, Dr. Michael, I will say this, okay? This tactic, right, that they kind of weaponize against people of, oh, you speak up about the Gaza genocide, what about all the others? Suleiman gets this a lot, right? Oh, you don't speak about this, you don't speak about our oppression. You know, he gets this from, like, I won't even say it, because if I say it, the cult will come here and start trolling again. But he gets this from people across the world. Oh, our leaders sat in jail. You don't speak about our oppression. You're supposed to speak about all oppression. It's like, how much can one person do? What's affecting the world right now? What affected us immensely globally will never be the same again was the Gaza genocide, and witnessing that every night. Nothing at that time compared to what was happening to the Palestinians. And now the Iran war. I spoke to somebody today who said literally a month ago it was costing her £76 to fill up her tank, and today she paid £101. And she can afford it, but she felt the pinch. And there's a lot of people who can't afford that. It's affecting everybody. So that's one of the things they'll hit you with. What about this, and what about that, and what about this, and what about, you know, the Qataris and the Chinese and all of this. So I think, yes, you're right to do that focus. The other thing is the Zionism. And I understand, I mean, I feel very differently about Massey, so I won't go there. But I just want to make it clear to people, because for some reason they think that he was massively pro-Palestinian. And I think it's important to tell people that neither was he pro-Palestinian, nor did he speak up about the genocide. So let's keep a level playing field. But where you're concerned, Dr. Michael, it is my opinion that I think strategically you've taken a very important decision. And the reason I say this is because, to me, Zionism means an ideology of supremacy, right? And that exists, like our friend David here will only call out Jewish supremacy, but actually, no, because there are far more Christian Zionists in America than there are even Jewish Zionists. There are Muslim Zionists across the world, you know, what Suleiman and Ryan Dawson refers to as East Israel, for example. You know, Christian Zionists, Muslim Zionists right there. So, and let's not forget India. Literally, like, the nation that has adopted the Zionist playbook right from, like, when Gandhi was killed. He was killed by an RSS guy. The RSS people are now in power, and they've got the Zionist playbook, the lynching, the rapes, the bulldozing of homes, the censorship. All of that goes on. You just don't see it in the news. But I see it. I know my account got suspended across India. They got this was before the genocide. A legal notice was sent to Elon, because I used to do spaces on India, everything, the Zionist playbook. They're Hindus, but they're Zionists. So it's not about one particular faith, it's about a supreme ideology. I'll give you an example. In the UK, the leader of the Green Party, okay, he's a gay guy, he's Jewish, he has spoken out against the genocide, the Gaza genocide, against it, called the Palestinians deserve the rights, all of that stuff. But then they hit him, and this is what they keep hitting Jeremy Corbyn with, is their definition of Zionism is, well, Zionism to us means Israel doesn't have the right to exist, so you're saying this nation should be wiped off earth. And so there are so many different people where Zionism means so much to them, and they weaponize that, and they try to actually bring you down as a result of it. And it really troubles me that a lot of the people who have been on the right side of history, like pro-Palestinian people, fall for it. And they'll say, oh yeah, you know what? He's a good guy, the leader of the Green Party, but then you know what? He didn't call out Zionism, because why didn't he call it out? And I'm like, because they know that the minute they call it out, the media machine in this country will say he's asking for the annihilation of Israel. That's what they will say, and that's how they weaponize it. So I think you've made a very strategic, smart move. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Michael. Yeah, I mean, that's the position we took, because otherwise we'd be in a quagmire of endless debate about what Zionism is. What are we, are we sort of genocidal ourselves, or some nonsense like this? So we made it very clear we don't take any position with reference to the existence or non-existence of Israel. That being said, I don't believe it would be what it is at all if it weren't for the U.S. backing. And then also we define Zionism strictly as the extortion of U.S. taxpayers and the blackmail and bribery of the U.S. political class for the benefit of Israel. By the way, I just wanted to shout out to the great Cynthia McKinney, who is in the room. She has been an anti-Zionist fighter for decades, one of the trailblazers in this space. And so I just wanted to say hello to her, and hopefully we can hear from her.
Absolutely, Cynthia. It's a great pleasure to have you in the space, and it'd be a greater pleasure to hear you come up on the panel. You're welcome anytime. I'll send you the mic, and anytime if you wish to speak, just come on up and we'll come straight to you. But thank you for joining us. Yeah, Dr. Michael, I agree. And that's a deliberate tactic on their part, to just focus then, and they did it to Jeremy Corbyn in this country, focus on the definition of Zionism. The new party that Jeremy Corbyn formed, your party, one of the people in that party, his kind of co-founder, you could call it, Zara Sultana, went on stage and said, absolutely, I'm anti-Zionist. So then the heat came on Jeremy Corbyn saying, are you going to say that? Why didn't you say it? And people, actually normal pro-Palestinian people, turned against him. And I thought, oh, how stupid can you be? He is the leader of a political party. The minute he says that, they're going to start saying, oh, this is our definition, that you want the annihilation of a whole nation and its people. So we're going to go with our definition. They're never going to give him a chance to explain. It's going to open a Pandora's box. I've seen it happen here. It's very damaging to the cause. So yeah, good move.
Well, I just... never mind. I'll talk about it later. It's fine.
No, go ahead.
Well, the gatekeeping on this side, and it's coming from the Green Party largely, about, like, do you say the right words, and do you have the exact lexicon that we use? Otherwise, we are going to banish you and have nothing to do with you. And so 2 candidates left the Green Party because of this kind of constant sort of browbeating, party line enforcing attitude. And what do you know, that that was Brian McGuinness and of course Aguilar. They both left the Green Party. Now I think Aguilar might have left the race. I'm still not sure about that, but in any case, this gatekeeping from the left anti-Zionist space, it's got to stop. Because we'll never be able to oppose it. We're never going to be able to have a victory divided along these lines. Yeah, I think there are some kinds of speech that are, I wouldn't represent for ASAPAC as allowable, but I don't care what people say elsewhere. ASAPAC has its own speech. It doesn't speak for all of its supporters. They may have different views. They may have views that I don't agree with, but we only have one position, and that's why it's very simple. And that's why that's been successful in Washington, that is single issue type PACs have actually had an effect. So we don't know that we are going to have any impact on this midterm. We're trying our darndest to do so. But we don't know, because it's, they're putting out, it depends on how much money they bring to the various races. I mean, they have shown that they will bring up to $20 million for a small congressional seat. So, they're pretty avid about winning. And so it's not going to be easy. As Solomon pointed out, it's losing seats. It's just a total struggle. It's not going to be a gimme. And we're not going to get there in one midterm election. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's decades of infiltration, Dr. Michael. It's not going to happen in one term, is it? You're making an impact. Even the losses are raising awareness and making an impact. So yeah. Gigi, jump in.
Good afternoon, Beatrice. I'm so happy to hear you. You're missed whenever you're not on the space. I've been dropping off, I don't know, for some reason, so I may not last long. I just wanted to mention one thing. Whether we care about Thomas Massie and him being defeated or not, that showed me, from someone that, as an observer from outside America, that how easy it is to buy vote in America. That's concerning. It's concerning because I was in this space the night before. I was in this space when actually the votes were going on, and only Joa was saying that he's going to lose, and how right he was. Joa was here. And many people were saying that, no, he's going to win, he's going to win. So when you see that 26 million can completely buy the entire state that are voting for someone, that is very concerning. Why is that? There are lots of Americans in this panel. My view is lack of real education. I'm not saying Americans are not going to college or don't finish high school. I'm not saying that. I'm saying informed, real education doesn't happen in United States. And I know that because I have friends and I have family, actually, who live in the United States. And when I speak to them, to their very educated, Ivy school educated people, sometimes my jaw drops of how much they are not aware of what's happening in the world and how much they don't even care. The problem I see is Americans are raised to be America first of all, to think of themselves better than everyone, to think of America better than anywhere else, and to put all of that in front of everything else. And I can prove it. So, and remember the first interview that the education minister of America had. She was so uninformed that she called AI A1. I was watching it live on TV and I was thinking, who is this woman that was assigned to look after education of America? And she doesn't, at this point, she doesn't know AI. And that was like a year and a half ago, right? Everybody knew AI then. Donald Trump is doing everything he can for the donor class. I doubt if he goes to an election today, he would lose. Because what he does on the world stage, just follow it. Because I'm also interested in finance, and I'm also interested in Bitcoin and other stuff. I follow a lot of finance news, and I keep a journal. If you would have traded Donald Trump tweets since he started, your financial situation, whatever asset you had, would have 100x. Look what he did on the trades first, tariffs. He walks his word back, but by that move the market up and down, up and down. First, the insider group, his family, and all the other people make a huge money. If you remember, on February 28th, a large, very large, I don't quote me for that, but I think about 600 million bet was placed on a call option on CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, on betting on price of oil going up. And that Friday, this bet was placed, and then they attacked Iran on Saturday. So if you follow Donald Trump policy and you follow Donald Trump tweet anywhere, you would have made a lot of money. And I know many people made a lot of money. I see in many spaces that I listen to, in financial spaces, they are very pro Donald Trump. And that's concerning. Why? Because American first think of them first and money first. Moral has lost its value in America. There are many American here, no disrespect to these people, because I'm sure if they didn't have a moral campus, they would not be on this space. But how many of them know how many people that are like them? And how many of them know thousands of people that only care about themselves, the money, what's going to happen to them? So I think Thomas Massey, for me, the day he lost, I lost a lot of hope because I saw America can be bought easily. Israel is a different story. We know Israel is controlling America. This is a fact now. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. But I was also thinking, why are they so emboldened that they can put videos like Ben Gavir tormenting people, the journalists, and why do they release a video that people are sitting in afternoon in Israel and watching Lebanon being bombarded and laughing and having popcorn situation? My theory is this is actually bringing them more money, donates from America. I'm sure Zionists donate more when they see this type of thing. Oh, because we know that how much of the Zionism, or let's say Jewish supremacy in this case, are living in USA, and they have all the threats. They are really having everyone under their, I mean, every politician under their spell, whoever that is, from Democrat to Republican. Sorry, I was too long.
Well,
I
my
may
friend,
be
if I
dropped
could,
off.
I can encourage you a little bit by telling you that everyone that's not a boomer, especially on the conservative side, whom Israel absolutely relies upon, is walking away. There's a reason why, after Turning Point's big change, there's a reason why they made that change after Charlie Kirk was gone. Because simply by listening to Dave Smith or listening to Tucker Carlson or listening to anybody pushing from the other side, Everybody under 40, and that's who Charlie Kirk represented. Make no mistake about it. He was the second most important person in the entire country of the United States of America for Israel. After he was gone, Turning Point USA became totally subjugated to Israel. Now, there is nothing they can do, even that can stop those people from walking away. So the Great Awakening is happening. And by the way, it's despite our educational system. Robert Maxwell, remember, who was is Ghislaine's father, was supplying educational material to all of the kids in America. There's a reason why. This isn't this is willful ignorance, yes, maybe for upon some people, but the people that are running our educational system are not incompetent firemen. They're dedicated arsonists. They've been intentionally making these indoctrination camps. And yet, if I can land here and encourage you, all of these young people under 40, they're not making new boomers. All these young people under 40 are walking away from the Israel narrative. And this is a great thing for America.
I hope that's true, and if that's a true thing, I will be praying all my life to God for that to come true. I just, I was hopeful before this war started, but more and more I see that people actually walk the walk that Israel is planning for them. Have no doubt that the reason that education in America is the way it is actually planned, and that's how can you rule over people if you keep them informed? It's impossible. How can you keep them as a slave? I call them, well, they're not really a slave, but literally they're a slave. So I hope you're right. I pray to God for you to be right. And I live every day for someone like you to be right. But I have my doubts.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Gigi.
Sorry, back to Beatrix.
Sorry,
No,
Suleiman,
no,
were you
go
going
for
to
it. Go
jump
for it.
in? I was just going to correct Gigi on one thing. Gigi, I don't know anybody called Joa. I only know Jonah. Were you talking about Jonah?
Disavow. Joe is enjoying himself right
Yeah.
now. He's sending me pictures. Sending me pictures of having steak, bro. What's wrong with this guy?
Jonah. Yeah. Suleiman, did you want to say something? If not, we can go to, I only see Andy's hand up. We
Yeah,
can
let's
go
go
to Andrew.
to.
Welcome to Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew's here.
Yeah.
Cyrus is here. Welcome, both of them.
Welcome to Cyrus. Welcome to Andy and John investigating it. Good to have you on the panel. I'll come to you shortly, and welcome to Abdul as well. Andy, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard resigning. I mean, we kind of saw that this would happen at some. Kind of thought that this would happen at some point because I mean, you had a lot of people kind of attacking her because she was kind of straddling the fence and not being 100% supportive of the war and saying, well, this is what Trump decided to do with our intelligence, but she was never all gung ho like the other cabinet officials, like we have to destroy Iran. So it seems like she was kind of trying to straddle the fence and play both sides of this thing. And I mean, like, yeah, so this seems like a good way out for her to care for her husband. So yeah, I mean, I guess she got her way out without antagonizing MAGA. So I guess good for her. She found her way out. I wish she did step down and say, they're still fighting this war and there's no end in sight, and they completely ignored my intelligence when I said last year in March that there was no nuclear weapon. I wish she made more of a statement with her resignation, to be quite honest, because that would have been powerful for her to say and important to show, hey, it's not just the Joe Kent thing. This is a systemic issue where a lot of the administration isn't on board, especially because Tulsi was well liked and was deemed as part of this whole dream team that people elected Trump for, because the vision of the Trump administration was, we're going to get all these different people. We're going to bring in people like Tulsi and RFK Jr. that are former Democrats, and we're going to get all these diverse perspectives, and it's going to be great. So for someone like her, who was a big part of that, to actually have more forcefully gone against him would have been huge. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I mean, hey, at least she didn't wait around for Trump to eventually fire her at the behest of Laura Loomer in some humiliating manner. So I think that's honestly maybe better than letting Laura Loomer get her way, because Laura Loomer was working very hard to get her fired. And she did say a few months ago that Tulsi Gabbard's going to get fired at some point. Trump shouldn't let her resign and take her own way out. But so yeah, at least I'm glad she didn't get what she wants. But yeah, as I've been saying with this war, I think it's going to kick off again this weekend. And if not, I think Trump really is going to actually punt the can down the road until July after the World Cup. I think he cares about optics a bit because with the World Cup, he got that whole fake FIFA peace prize, and then he freaking goes to war. But at the end of the day, he wants, I think, the world's attention to be on this incredible sporting event that he's hosting. Because I mean, like no one can deny the World Cup is the greatest sporting event on earth. Like billions of people tune into the different games to watch it. It's like something at the scale of the Olympics. Like soccer is a global sport that every single country plays. It's bigger. It's much bigger than the Super Bowl. So I think Trump wants the attention to be on the U.S. and how great we are for the World Cup rather than, oh, we're bombing Iran and killing civilians. Because Trump obviously knows killing civilians is wrong. He just doesn't care. He's like, I'm doing this because I'm making money and Israel's telling me to. I don't think he's so soulless. He doesn't think that what he's doing is wrong. Because if he didn't think what he was doing is wrong, I don't think he would have even stopped the war the first time. I think he would have just done power plants and bridge day. But yeah, he cares about optics a little bit, but he's obviously still evil. But yeah, he's going to put on his show at the World Cup if he doesn't do it this weekend and then go back to bombing in July is my take.
He only cares about money, and he will run this war until it makes him money. And then he will stop and pick something else. He started tariff, then Greenland, and now war. Well, war, obviously, Israel likes it too because they can annex the entire Lebanon. But it's all about money.
Israel's going to fail in Lebanon. They've failed for the last 45 years, and Hezbollah and the resistance is going to kick their ass right out of the country again. Have faith.
I wanted to speak to the question about how do we, what is it with Americans? How do they get to be so, indoctrinated, going back through their education, beginning with the Maxwell textbooks and the whole 9 yards of propaganda that are fed people. And I mean, you can see the extent of it just by virtue of the fact of the kind of things that are considered to be anathema or unspeakable. And that comes with a long history of propaganda and indoctrination. So that's very intense in the United States. I would say more intense here than in any country in the world because they need to manipulate us more than any other people. The ruling class needs to manipulate us more because we're the ones that is funding and arming the military industrial complex. We're the one whose labor goes into creating the arms and whose money is extracted from our taxes to pay for all of this. And this is why the Zionists find it so important to control our media, like to own CBS and the Paramount streaming and TikTok and you name it, because they got to get a control over the American mind, because the American voter has the most power to stop their agenda. And that's why they come after us the hardest. So please don't suggest that there's some deficiency mentally in the case of Americans. They're no more stupid or smart than anyone else. I think there is, and there are plenty of people that are educated. What is happening is the intense indoctrination and the intense propaganda that the American subject faces. But everybody has the possibility of breaking that spell, and that takes their own effort. They must take action to break that spell. They have to read, they have to study, they have to listen to different viewpoints. They need to think critically. In some cases, they don't know how to evaluate things and think critically. And I try to teach that. I actually teach at a university, and I try to teach people how to think, because it is necessary to know how to do that in order to be able to defend against all of this propaganda that's coming at people 24/7. and the psyops that they're running on us, it's endless. I mean, they call for more psyops. So anyway, yeah.
You're 100% right. 100% of what you said is right. But when you are in an environment, you are a person in an environment that everybody else or most other countries like Iranian are demonized and they're not lesser than you. You don't even, when you hear story about them or news or bombarding, you don't feel that you actually killed some human. You feel that maybe you killed some animal. When the propaganda makes every other nation, even now, look at how propaganda is talking about Europe in America. When you go to when you read the news and you go to financial spaces, when they talk about Europe, they talk about Europe like Europeans are not really smart. They are lost everything. They gave up their nuclear power plant, and they did this and they did that. So they all demonize. Like when you're talking in American spaces, I'm talking about, they all talk like European is less than them now. European that they used to be much, they would look up to European. So Iranian are demon. Palestinian are not even considered human. Look at what happened this past week when these 400 journalists finally freed from Israel yesterday. How much attention it got all over the world? They were 400, and my heart, every piece of my heart goes to every one of those 400. But 72,000 people were killed in Israel. Do you think anybody talked 1/10 of this? Today, people are being killed in Gaza. Today, people are being killed in Lebanon, and also people are suffering in Iran. It's not easy to live in a country that has been sanctioned for 47 years. People, I'm all my hat up to Haas that went with a back surgery back to Iran to be part of Iranian resistance. But he was talking to this space yesterday that how difficult it is. I haven't been back to Iran for years for someone to live on 80 pound a month when a chicken costs 30 pounds. I mean, imagine people are suffering. Not everybody is being killed. Not to mention the girls and that were killed in Manab school. But how much Americans are talking about that? This is the only space I hear people talking about that. And I go to American space. I listen to many of them because I'm interested in financial. I'm interested in science. I've never heard anyone talking about all of this. And when someone bring this concept up, many people reject that and say, oh, we are not here to talk politics. We are not here to talk about Iran. So they completely shut you off. The information is not available in America. I'm not saying Americans are not as smart as other people. Some of them are even much more smart. We know from advance of technology and industry and all of that, Americans are to be saluted for their brain power. But brain power is one necessity for being smart. The other thing is information and the educational material that doesn't exist in America.
You know what? I think it comes to allegiances, right? I said this before, and it's a harsh reality, but I do think, how's that? I do think that there are people who are just not aware, and I would say across the West, right? And they're hardworking people, they're bright people, but they're just working long hours to pay their mortgages, to provide for their kids. They come home at the end of the night, watch a bit of TV, mainstream media. They don't know any different. They're probably not on social media, not because they're boomers. They could be, in their 30s, in the Southern Belt or here, in the countryside, and just not aware. But then there are those that don't want to be aware. And those are the ones that are on social media that do those spaces. And they're just happy because they have deep-rooted Islamophobia. That's what they have. They don't even realize they have the Zionist ideology. They don't realize it. And I've had some spaces over the last week. The most bizarre was somebody was supporting Marcy and supporting MAGA. And it made my brain fry. Like, how can you be MAGA and Marcy together? Like, how does that even work? And then I heard somebody else on another space saying, oh, yeah, but, in Iran, they kill their protesters. So, we shouldn't even be. And I just thought the lack of irony. You literally had people killed in the last 12 months protesting by ICE. You've imprisoned people who were protesting. ICE has imprisoned them. And then you're going to go into, oh, but they weren't born in America. So what, do they not have human rights if they just had a green card? Some of those were academics in your university who were literally lynched on the street because they spoke against Israel. And those Americans are the ones who are watching their First Amendment rights just completely vanish, but they don't see it. Sadly. Just before I go to Cyrus, I want to go to Investing Brit. Investing Brit, jump in.
Oh, hello. I've got nothing material to add. I just wanted to say salam alaikum to Suleiman. I know I was in another space a few weeks ago, and he was saying that he's originally from Borough. I'm a fellow Teessider myself, so just want to say it's a great platform you built here. And yeah, I think it's really good what you're doing here. Important conversations have been had, and we need more of it. So yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Appreciate coming on. Up the Borough.
Up the Borough,
W.
mate.
Borough. Palmos all the way. Appreciate you coming on.
Man, with the garlic sauce. Can't forget that, mate.
Of course, you can't. It's impossible to have a palmo without a garlic sauce.
Absolutely, mate,
Appreciate
yeah.
you. Thank you. Thanks for your kind words. We have got a super chat. Let me just quickly read this. It is regarding US propaganda. It's exhausting trying to keep up on what's actually happening with the war. Mainstream media is all slop and lies that wears you down. Your family and friends think you're nuts. It wears you out. I mean, that's true. That's the aim of them. That's actually the aim and psychology is this: to wear you down, to give you the same false information over and over and over again, and to just manipulate you into accepting it to be reality. That's the aim of the game. That's what they do. So totally agree with you that. Let's go back to you, Beatrix. Who are we going to go to?
Yeah, I just wanted to, investigating Brit. The reason I went to him before Cyrus was because I saw I just looked through his replies and I thought he was a troll. And I thought, oh, let me go to him. If he doesn't speak, I'll drop him. But then I should have freaking dropped him once I found out he was from Borough. But never mind, he's gone now.
Borough, W all the way. The North stands upright. The North are the people. Do not mess with us.
Let's go to Cyrus. Cyrus, jump in.
Hi, Beatrix. Hi, Suleiman. Thanks for having me. I want to make a couple of comments regarding Tulsi Gabbard and the timing. I find it very alarming. As you guys know, for the past several weeks, I've been one of the few who's been saying there's not going to be a restart of the war. I probably give it a 70, 80% chance it's not going to start. However, with Tulsi resigning and the way she did it, very tacitly and very quiet, if she would have done it like Joe Kent, I wouldn't have been as alarmed if she would have stated her reason and this false war. But the fact that she did it very quietly makes me think that Trump might be actually making plans to attack. So my percentages are like 50-50 now. I think it's very suspect the way she did it. And also there's this thing called like the pizza tracker, the pizza orders in the White House. So through the last weekend, it has spiked. That's the way they kind of gauge any type of new activity that might happen during these like lulls in conflict. So I think, looking at all these, telltale, details that are, that are out there, I think we're in a very heightened and elevated risk level for conflict. And I just found it very, the timing of it was, it was very peculiar to me. I just wanted to point that out.
That's good analysis, and I think that the other shoe will drop when we see who they replace her with. What do you think of that?
Exactly. We have to see who's going to be the replacement, whether they're going to be one of these run-of-the-mill sycophants that Trump loves to parade around. I'm assuming it will be. So he'll have even less pushback and less resistance and less transparency. Very alarming.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's going to lead a merry dance for a while. I actually don't think anything's going to happen. I think this is just all, canceling meetings, not giving responses, not going to weddings and stuff. It's just to keep people on edge still. Let's see. Crazy times. Let's go to Dr. Michael, jump in, and then we'll go to Prashant.
No, you go to him. I'm good. I'll listen.
Okay. Prashant, jump in. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thanks for the continued work. Thank you, Suleiman, for all your interviews. That was a fascinating interview with the Chinese man yesterday. He really made me think about what's potentially coming because of this war crime of Trump, which is potential starvation, not only in other countries, but in the US, if we don't solve the fertilizer crisis. But then again, as I've said here before, the fertilizer is not the answer. It's part of the problem, but I won't go into that too much. I really wanted to address Fifi about when she was talking about the American people. And I've said this before in this room also. And so what I'll say to Fifi is we are the most lied to population probably in human history in the US. Not only are we the most lied to, but we are the sickest, physically sickest, and mentally probably sickest population in the history of the planet. And that's at least partially planned. And we're also probably a lot of us are the most financially abused population on the planet. And that just adds to the two stresses I outlined above. So there's an incredible amount of stress on a lot of the population of the US for all of those three reasons. And so it's very hard to be an effective human when you have so much stress constantly in your life. And that leads me also to Tulsi Gabbard. What's the title of this space today? I know Tulsi Gabbard a little bit, not personally, but I live in Hawaii and she lived in Hawaii. I knew her father a little bit because I've gone to the legislator here and I've spoke to him on political issues in the state of Hawaii. So I knew him and I know her and I know a little of her history. She has a little of a history, I think, with those fanatical people who had a guru from India. I can't think of their name right now, but she had an association with those people. And their guru, his name was Prabhupada. He said something before he died, just before he died, about his followers. And he had a large following. His following was those people that used to be in the airports all over the country trying to get donations for the bigger organization. Because he had a pretty large organization all over the country. And once again, I can't remember the name, but I'm going to tell you what he said about his following just days before he died. He said something very simple. He said they didn't get it, meaning they didn't get what he was trying to teach them, which is the ancient wisdom of the Indian subcontinent. He said they didn't get it. And Tulsi Gabbard, in my view, is one of those people that didn't get it. I saw a post from a woman that we all know who's an influencer on X, has large spaces on X constantly. And I saw this post a little while ago, and it explained why she resigned. Tulsi Gabbard is a young woman compared to me. I'm 75. I'm guessing she's in her 40s. And her husband's probably the same. But the post that I saw said that she quit because her husband has cancer. And she wanted to devote her life to helping her husband as opposed to being in the government. So that's the explanation that I saw in a post a little while ago. So the very first thing I did, knowing Tulsi and having been physically in the same place and talking to her, having been on many conference calls with her, I just reposted that post where I saw that her husband had cancer. And I said, Tulsi, I live in Hawaii. Your husband has cancer. I can probably help him. And I tagged her. I said, get in touch with me because I probably could. Because as some of you know, I'm 75 years old. I haven't been to a doctor in 55 years, no drugs, no medicine, 55 years. I don't have a doctor. I don't want a doctor because I have a PhD in how to be healthy. And so I hope Tulsi Gabbard contacts me because I could help her husband if he did what I said, both of them. And I could also probably go in their house and show them why they have cancer. And I'm not bragging because when I talk about these kind of things, as I've said before, I don't talk about it by reading books and reading research. I live it. I studied
Yeah.
nutrition for 55 years.
Thanks.
I'll stop quick. I know I'm talking long, but I spent time.
No, it's not long, Prashant, but I don't want to go down the health route on
Yeah, I
this
know, but
because I
it's related
appreciate that you
because
are very conscious.
Tulsi resigned because her husband had cancer, so it's related. That's why I'm talking about it.
Well, I don't know if that is why she resigned, Prashant. That's my point.
Well, the post is from Mays. Mays doesn't usually lie. Okay?
No, Prashant, you know,
okay.
I didn't want you to.
I'll
Okay,
stop.
wait. Prashant. I don't vouch for anybody. Number one, on this platform. Number two, we don't like people being named if they're not here. Number three, the point I was trying to make is that's the official reason that was given of her resignation. I'm not sure that's why she resigned.
I agree with you.
That's my point.
I agree with you.
Yeah. But my point is, Prashant, look, I appreciate you're really healthy and you do yoga and everything else, and you never had an illness and you've never seen a doctor and you follow the guru and everything else. But I just don't want to go down that road.
Great. I shared what I thought was relevant. Yeah. Great. I'll stop talking. No problem.
I appreciate the politics you talk about, though, Prashant. But let's see if she responds to you.
I hope she does. I really hope she does.
Yeah. Andy, jump in.
I mean, yeah, that's cool that you kind of know Tulsi Gabbard and have like some type of connection, like you were talking about. But yeah, that's cool, and yeah, the fact that you live in Hawaii, that's also incredible. I don't think I've heard you mention that before. Maybe I did, and I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, going back to Tulsi, and what Cyrus was saying, I do think the way Tulsi resigned and then Trump not going to his kid's wedding, I mean, it could just be another nothing burger and a taco. But I mean, skipping your son's wedding is pretty weird. And we've always kind of felt like, or at least I have, that this is the weekend where it's either going to happen this weekend or it's going to be punted. Although, I mean, it's Trump, so you can't rule out an attack during the World Cup, but I don't think he wants that because then you get into the territory of anti-war protests breaking out during the World Cup, and that's the last thing Trump wants is people out on the streets protesting his administration. Like, God forbid we attack and some planes get shot down and we lose more American servicemen, and then more people are out on the streets during the World Cup with the international media asking protesters questions. Hey, why do you support the war? And then you have protesters going to the international media, or why do you oppose it? Then the protesters go to all these international medias from the because there's 48 countries, so there'd be international media from 47 different countries there, and they'll be like, oh, we oppose this war because we don't want our troops to die for Israel. That would be such a black eye for the Trump administration. I truly think he is going to avoid that. I mean, you can't. So I think he's delusional enough to, if he strikes this weekend, that he controls the escalation dominance, which he most certainly does not. Iran controls the escalation dominance, but I think in Trump's warped mind, if he does strike, he thinks, okay, I can do some strike. It will be over in 2 weeks. Well, we can get some deal or something and then do the World Cup. But that's just not how it works because Iran is not budging on its terms, and dropping a few more bombs on civilian homes, as sad as that is and as horrible as it is for Iran, is not going to get Trump what he wants, nor should it. Because Iran has said it doesn't matter what you do to us, we are not going to give in on our demands. So, yeah, this is just a holding pattern. But this Tulsi Gabbard, right on Memorial Day weekend and all of that, like, I just think the timing's weird. Like, why not last week? Why not 2 weeks ago? Why not a month ago? But just during all of this, like, during this sort of ceasefire, you can't really call it a ceasefire because Israel's still murdering civilians in Lebanon, which is why I say sort of ceasefire. I don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like tonight is really the night where we should really kind of have our eye on the ball with what's going on.
And on that, Andy, we have some news from two guesses. Axios. So Axios, obviously, the problem with them is they've been helping Trump manipulate the market quite a bit. So you can't really trust anything they say. But that being said, this is what they're saying. It's a weekend, so they've got to be weekend warriors, you see. So he said the following. They say Trump is on the verge to attack Iran once again. Per Axios, Trump has grown increasingly frustrated in the past few days over the current state of negotiations with Iran and has raised the possibility of one final major military operation, after which he would unilaterally declare victory and end the war. A US official briefed on the diplomatic efforts described the negotiation as agonizing, saying draft proposals are going back and forth every day with little meaningful progress being made. So that just, look, the problem with Axios is you can't even see it as reporting anymore because they do so much manipulation and propaganda, you just don't even know where it is. But anyway, that's their report. But Andrew, you wanted to jump in? Go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, Suleiman, perfect point to jump in on this. If the few of us that have been here from day one, even before day one, your space was the only one that was consistently calling out it will be an attack. The United States will attack. Israel will be involved in all that involvement, and we got a lot of pushback. Here we go again. Yes, there will be a strike, an attack. It's most clear. When I say it's most clear, it's abundantly clear. We're not trying to prophesy. We're speaking the facts of a preponderance of military evidence, of geopolitical evidence, all of the economic, financial evidence piling up. And also, we have the rear view mirror of history looking at this countless times. And please, Suleiman, let's never underestimate when we are gathering information, which there's no space, there's no source of information like this space that gathers information, that interviews experts from across the spectrum, to the left, to the right, everywhere. But see, that's how information is gathered and analyzed. When I worked, my first 5 years of my military career was in naval intelligence and gathering, intelligence gathering. And the way it works is like a massive, massive jigsaw puzzle of 20,000 tiny pieces. Every piece has to be put on the board. Every piece has to be analyzed. By itself, it looks like, this is insignificant. But no, it might be a major part. When the picture comes clearer and clearer, we see the whole picture. So that's what I love about the way you analyze stuff, Suleiman. You say, yep, we know this is propaganda. We know but this is what this is saying. We put the pieces together. But I've been saying for weeks now, we will see kinetic action. Trump is going to do some explosive, blow some stuff up. Now we have achieved our victory, and then look for his exit ramp somehow, some way. Iran is planning for this. We see also the intel pouring in. They're getting ready. They know it, of course, and Iran needs to hit back harder than hell. And when I say hit back harder than hell, I mean release the hounds. Let it all go, man. Blast the living daylights out of reprobate national Zionist Israel. Turn Hezbollah loose, man. Do your thing. The IDF is already on its heels. They're despicable. They're cowards. They know that their back's against the wall. They're going to try everything. And I'm really bridling my anger here, but when I saw the way they treated those members of that last flotilla, first of all, that's piracy. I'm extremely embarrassed and I'm hurt. I'm disappointed and I'm sickened by the United States Navy. My first submarine, the first submarine I served on, Fast Attack SSN. You know what our motto was? We were a white wolf. Okay. May she, the USS Memphis, may she ever prowl the sea in defense of human freedom. That was our goal. That was our mission. When we put to sea, we are in defense of human freedom. And now we're no longer that. We're supporting the most evil evil Epstein class imaginable. So we are the moral resistance against the Epstein class. We must and we will continue to keep speaking out. So I think we will see some action, but I'm glad because I know Iran's going to say, okay, let's do it. Let's dance. You want to dance? Let's dance. And I pray they unleash all hell. But of course, the United States will just go back and say, yep, we did it. We regime change. Yeah, we did this. We grabbed some more uranium. Yeah, we've got enriched uranium. We did this special op. I couldn't care less how he tries to get his victory lap. But the world knows, and those that are not feeble-minded know that America lost. The United States of America and National Zionist Israel is in derision, open shame. The world knows that Iran won. And this is wonderful because all of this terrible loss from Thomas Massie, I'm glad that happened in this sense. This is why. Because it shows those of us that are awake and understand how much this country is the United States of America. We are under occupation. We are controlled by a foreign entity. And if people, that the evidence is there. There it is right there. So I'm going to land it with this, Suleiman. Please repost the space, people. Do the videos, watch the videos, support the space financially. Go in, send support to Suleiman, repost the space, keep sharing it, keep fighting a good fight. And God bless you, Suleiman. Love you dearly. You are a warrior. I can't imagine you keep going and you don't stop. And Beatrice, so great to see you back in our speaking panel. I love you all. Keep fighting moral. We are the moral resistance. Keep fighting a good fight.
Thanks for that,
We
Andrew.
are
You
the
were doing
moral
so well to
resistance.
the last minute, last comment. What were you saying, Beatrice?
I said we are the moral
Fake
resistance. Is right.
news. Fake news.
We are. Andrew and I are Andrew and I are the founding members of the moral resistance. Andrew, I want to ask you something. When is the World Cup? I know Andy keeps reminding me, and I keep forgetting. When is it?
Yeah, it's coming up here in
June 11th.
June 11th. Thank you. I said it's June 10th or something. June 11th. Andy knows. Andy's our resident expert, and I'm so glad to see David up here. Of course, every time Dr. Michael comes up and Gigi and of course, thank you so much. And Preston, so great to see you. And Cypher's putting your information here. And Andy, he's our Wikipedia. But yeah, and that's going to be something here because I don't even think Trump gives a rip about that at this point. He is just. I mean, it's embarrassing because help me here, but from the last I read, the World Cup here being held in America is a joke. They're not getting the tickets. Andy has more information on it than I do, but it's really kind of embarrassing. The whole world's looking at like they're not even getting Americans show up for it. The tickets are overpriced. It's just disgusting.
And now you can't have people pay to fly in for it because fuel prices have like doubled from Europe. Europeans aren't going to be able to afford an airline ticket that costs twice as much to fly from, say, Germany or France in for the World Cup. Like there was as bad as the cost of living crisis was in America, it was even worse in Europe. So a lot of these fans aren't going to be able to spend $2,000 on a round trip airline ticket or whatever crazy amount it would cost for the World Cup because of this now. So that's another factor. The international fan, because normally you have international fans flying in. And I'm honestly shocked. Like if I lived in a city where there was a World Cup event, I would certainly be going to see random teams play. Copa America semifinals, I believe it was 2015 or 2016, was at Soldier Field in Chicago, and it was around my birthday time, and we just went because it's like, oh, there's international soccer here. It'd be fun to go. I played AYSO soccer growing up, so I was always a bit interested in soccer, much more so playing than watching on TV. But the fact that you can't get people to fill up a stadium in these big cities for a once in a lifetime event hosting the World Cup here is just disappointing. Like, where's the passion? Like, no wonder
Yeah.
America's.
Yeah, but Andy, yeah, to be honest, I don't really care if people fill it up or not. I don't really care about FIFA. I'm sure they'll get their money elsewhere. The reason I asked that, I'll tell you why, is because if you believe, and Andrew believes, and Suleiman and many other, oh God, we've been infiltrated. WF is here, WEF is here, guys. We have to watch what we say now.
Disavow.
But anyway,
Disavow.
Krasenstein's here. But anyway, what I was going to say was, if you believe there's going to be kinetic action, right? So for Saudi, it's Hajj on the 26th, I believe, of May, which is next Wednesday, right? So there's zero chance, if you believe there's going to be kinetic action, there's zero chance that Trump's going to put that at risk.
Breaking news. Iran shut its airspace for all night flights in the western part of the country till Monday. Back to you, Beatrice.
Whoa. So I just don't think, I was going to say, but then they've shut their frigging flights now. So I was going to say there's no way that Trump will risk any kind of retaliatory strikes on Saudi up until then. And even after then, it takes at least 4 or 5 days for people to leave. Like there's millions of people that fly in from Muslims that fly in from all over the world, right, for Hajj. So I just don't think there's gonna be any opportunity for any retaliatory strikes on Saudi. So then you're saying if it's gonna happen, let's say after the end of May, because it does take a few days for people to leave after Hajj. It's packed. So millions of people leave Saudi end of May, and then you're saying the World Cup is on the 10th or 11th. So you've got that window then for him to do something, unless he does it during the World Cup. And Andy, I know we've spoken about this before, and we have, Andrew, about him using the World Cup to do a quick bish bash bosh and then say, it's what, when you said, I don't know how he's going to present his victory. We do know how he's going to present his victory, Andrew. He's going to say, I destroyed their military, I destroyed their navy, I destroyed their leadership, I destroyed all their missiles. They got nothing left. I got rid of their nukes as well in this last hit. I got all their uranium. I've left the country barren. And it's over. I'm the president that delivered. You can just imagine his freaking speech. It's going to be nauseating. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just when we think we've heard it all, of course, he'll go beyond that. He's the master at that.
I wonder
That's what
I was going to say, I wonder if this is one of the ways they're going to use FIFA for a false flag and blame Iran or something. And the other thing I wonder is, I forgot it. So I'll leave it at that. I wonder if they're going to use FIFA as a false flag. Oh, I remember that. I wonder if Israel has a team here, and if they do, I wonder how they'll be treated.
Israel did not make the World Cup, thankfully. They're unathletic.
Yeah.
I mean, you see their soldiers and how inept they are. You think they can field a good soccer team? Come on now.
Good point, Andy.
Hey, Suleiman, I want to make a quick comment regarding the airspace. It is definitely something of note. However, I think if there was something imminent, they would have shut down the entire space. Moreover, the western airspace, is bordering Kurdistan, and Iran, even post ceasefire, has been very active, hitting the Kurdish militia that have had issues with Iran for decades. So, post ceasefire, Iran has been launching drones very often. So, there may be some escalation on that front, and they may be concerned about some kind of retaliatory strike. But I think if they had an imminent threat and intel that was actionable, they would have shut down the entire space. But definitely something to keep an eye on.
But
Yeah, and I just want to clarify something really quickly, and then I want to go to Jonah. Look, I thought I was clear, but obviously I need to break things down. When I said Trump would not hit Saudi during Hajj, I think you've just got to be stupid to think it's because I'm insinuating he cares about Muslims. He cares about nobody. We know he doesn't care about Muslims. This is the president of a nation that funded a genocide. It's because he doesn't want to lose his billions of dollars from Saudi, from the oil companies, from the business that Kushner and Witkoff are doing with MBS. Did you not see the red carpet treatment that MBS got at the White House? Well, the White House looked like it belonged in Saudi Arabia because you could hardly see an American flag. There were so many Saudi flags. That's what I meant. And I thought I was clear on that he won't want to risk that. But I just need to break it down, that it wasn't that he cares about Muslims. That's just basic understanding. It's because he cares about the money. Okay? He cares about the strategic alliances they've got with oil companies there, with the billions he's getting from the GCC. And Saudi relies on Hajj being safe for the people there because Saudi earns trillions probably during this period. So that's what I meant. Just want to break that down. Jonah, welcome. How was the steak?
It was good. It was good. Look, I'm just catching up. I'm hearing a lot of movement. I fear that this weekend could be like a look. If my theory is correct, if there's an attack, it'll be probably LNG or LNG related. It won't be sustained, and I don't know how many more weekends something can actually happen. I don't think he would do it during the World Cup. If he did, that would be very stupid. It would take away the investment America made in the World Cup, because typically people do that to like help their country and give it a spotlight. But Trump, always makes it about him. So God only knows. Yeah, the fact they're closing that airspace, the fact he's not going to the wedding, but the wedding seems to be like a family issue, right? Not that he's going to be in a war room or anything. But someone said pizza consumption was up. I don't remember if that
Do you
was
know
last
That was
night or
what?
if it was
yesterday.
today. Yeah.
Do you know what though?
So-
You just made me think
Hmm.
of something when you said it's a family issue. I don't trust this guy at all. Maybe he wasn't even invited to the goddamn wedding, but because people might ask why he didn't go, he's put the statement out first saying, I'm really busy dealing with country affairs and I'm putting the nation first, because he wasn't
But,
freaking invited. Who knows?
but who's getting married? Isn't it one of his sons?
Don Jr.
Yeah.
Do you think Pete Hegseth is going to let him out of the basement, Beatrix, to go to the wedding?
I don't know what's going on in America. There's a really good point that Danger Rex has made, right? On YouTube. He says, but maybe Trump will hit Iran in these days because he knows that Iran will not hit back at Saudi while Hajj is going on, because it will turn the Muslim kind of community internationally against Iran if they did hit back.
He's on TV right now saying, I'll try and make it. Right now, as we speak.
Saying what? Who Trump's saying this?
Yeah, about his wedding. He says, I don't know. There's things I got to do, but I'm going to try and make it. Which is strange.
What kind of nonsense is this? Why would you go on TV and talk about your son's wedding like, oh, I'm too busy and I'll try to make it, and I bet he's not even been invited and he's hoping they'll throw him a last minute invite. I don't know.
He's definitely invited. His kids are not kids; they're like employees, so they need to invite the boss, I'm sure.
Unless he's whipped by his fiance, right?
But don't they all work for the administration too?
His fiance.
I don't know who this woman is.
Netanyahu.
Which one is getting married anyway?
You know what was interesting to me? I'm not sure who's getting married, but a while back, Eric Trump, he friended me here on X, and then he DM'd me and started talking to me like I was going to support his father. And I said, go look on my page and then talk to me if you want to talk to me. And all he had to do is look on my page and see that I trashed Trump viciously 25 times a day. So then he unfriended me.
Wow.
Yeah, these guys on YouTube think it's this weekend. So Neuro's just said that I think Trump knows only too well that Iran will not hit Saudi during Hajj because they fight ethically. So who knows?
I'm gonna jump
I
in.
mean, that would be
Did you see
stupid.
the report? Mario Newfall, take it with a grain of salt, that a military source told the state media outlet TASM that armed forces have prepared new scenarios for any enemy foolishness, saying there'd be a third version of combat featuring new equipment, new targets, new tactics. They would face major punishment in less than a year from a new form. So, and they were talking about extra regional fronts. So that suggests that, assuming that reporting is true, I feel like if this starts again, I feel like Iran would probably get the Houthis involved this time, because that's the card they haven't really played. Like, yeah, the Houthis have fired a few missiles into Israel kind of in symbolic support, but I think the next card is like, hey, if you F around, you're going to find out, and we're going to close the Red Sea, and oil's going to 150 overnight. Because remember, like, Saudi is getting about 7 million barrels of oil a day still out through the Red Sea. If that is cut off in addition to the 13 million that are already cut off, that massively increases the supply shock to a whole new level.
Excellent analysis, Andy. We don't talk enough about what would happen if the war restarts, and I totally agree, especially in light of the new statement by the Iranians that you just mentioned. For sure, they'll close the Red Sea corridor, and that will double the economic pain on the globe. And it'll be a catastrophe we've never seen. If the if the Bab el Mandeb closes in the Red Sea, it will have an absolute shock effect throughout the global economy. If you couple that with the Strait of Hormuz, it'll be something like we've never seen.
The Red Sea is nowhere near as much because of the Houthis. They've been going around anyway. A lot of ships have been going around anyway. Although, yes, it would cause some pain, it's nowhere near the
But
level that
Saudi
it
Yeah,
couldn't
is.
get any
I
oil out
agree.
Not
then.
even
The
close.
It's not
Saudis
like
already blocked in Hormuz, so if the Red Sea's also closed, Saudi can't export any oil.
yeah, they go the long route. There's a long route they go, but it is like literally quadruple the distance through the Horn of Africa. Joe, I agree. The Strait of Hormuz certainly is more strategic, but if you double it with Bab al Mandeb, you're definitely gonna see a bigger effect.
Suleiman, what were you going to say about
The,
her?
the whole thing, the whole thing, the whole thing I don't get is why aren't they doing anything? Why are they just sitting? Like, why are they just waiting?
And one is because of world
You know what I
opinion. They
mean?
right now they have the utmost support, empathy from the world, and that is of great value given Iran is not in the mainstream countries, since it's not in the in the Western fold. That sympathy goes a long way. Right now, they're viewed as the ones who've been attacked, and America's the clear belligerent. If they take preemptive action, it may have strategic and tactical value, but I don't think they want to risk public opinion globally. That's my assessment, anyway.
Yeah, I just think it's stupid to think about that personally.
Yeah, I'd think it's stupid too, but if Iran is attacked again, then absolutely they have the right to escalate. They can then just say, hey, we were attacked again. Trump had no interest in making a deal. He did all these fake negotiations. So we're upping the economic pressure because Trump and Bibi are not interested in serious negotiations.
At the end of the day, like, public opinion isn't going to save your country. Public opinion, I don't really care about.
Yeah,
Trump doesn't care about public opinion. Israel doesn't care about public opinion. They get what they want. They do what they want. They bomb who they want. They kill what they want. Do you think public opinion saved Maduro? I don't think it saved
no, it did
Maduro.
not.
Do you think it saved the Venezuelan oil? No, it didn't save the Venezuelan oil. And in terms of the Hajj thing, I think someone made Beatrix and the moral resistance made a good point about how they may be doing it because they think Iran won't attack, but I think they should attack. I don't care. Like, Saudi should be. It shouldn't be a situation where Saudi basically jumps in and attacks them, helps support the attack against them, and then you're like, oh, we can't hit them. Yeah, you can hit them. You don't need to hit Mecca and Medina. You can hit Saudi though. I would hit them hard.
But escalation.
Beatrix is, sorry,
Mhm.
just one second. Beatrix is moral resistance. Go
Thanks,
ahead.
Beatrice. We all know you are.
What?
S-
Sorry, sort your life out.
Suleiman, I disagree with you on that front because you're discounting how unpredictable and how out of control warfare can get. Once you start down that rabbit hole and you reinitiate hostilities, especially if Iran does hit, I'm sure it'll be a massive attack. It would be on multi fronts on key targets, and if that escalates and they start hitting key infrastructure, that's something that could have been avoided. And we don't know if Trump restarts whether he's going to hit key infrastructure, and neither does Iran, right? So you are initiating a chain of events which you cannot control, right? Because you don't know what the United States is going to do, you don't know what UAE is going to do. There's more to it than public opinion, but I think
But that works. That works now as well.
what works now.
So your argument is that you don't know what the US is going to do, whether it's going to hit infrastructure or not. If you strike first, or they strike first, you don't know what they're going to hit until they hit it. Either way.
Right, but you tip over that first domino. That's the issue. Then that domino effect happens, and you're the one who started that chain effect.
Yeah, I know. Yes, when you start the war, you're the one who started it. I agree
Right,
with
and then
that.
and it
But
spirals. If it spirals, right, then you don't know if you were, because then you started it, right? Before it was an unknown.
yeah, you started it.
So that,
Yeah, you keep. It's still coming back to the same point. The spiral can happen anyway. The whole point is, I guess your argument is, well, maybe Trump never was gonna attack you, therefore you shouldn't have attacked, and you should just stay where you are and
right.
continue in this point. Obviously, that's the whole point of staying in this defensive posture.
Correct.
But my point is that doesn't impact the infrastructure question, because if Trump was to attack first and hit the infrastructure, you're going to respond only after you've hit your actual energy infrastructure, your nuclear plant have been hit. If you strike first and then Trump strikes your energy and nuclear infrastructure, then you're going to only strike after they hit you. So either way, you only strike once they've hit the energy infrastructure. You won't have an preemptive knowledge of this beforehand.
Right. No, for sure, Suleiman, you're right. It's just the outcome, right? It's so dire for not only Iran but for the world. So I think it's just such a difficult situation, with huge implications. So everyone's being very careful. I mean, look at what happened during Project Freedom. Like literally the ceasefire was broken, and Trump came out immediately, was like, "Oh yeah, the threshold hasn't been met. The ceasefire is on." That shows that was the biggest signal I've seen since the ceasefire of the U.S. intentions. That actually gave me a lot of solace and comfort that, hey, this is actually simmered down quite a bit. So that was a huge indication, because if they were looking for a pretext or a casus belli to reinitiate hostilities, they would have done it right then and there. That would have been the perfect time, because
Yeah, look, I understand the arguments. I'm not saying I understand the arguments, and my position is actually that defensive war is the right way to go about things. But that being said, the issue you've got is you're dealing with a brutal enemy, an enemy that is willing to kill children, an enemy who's gonna come now and try and annihilate you. And always being in the defensive position actually is a position of weakness. Attacking first does actually benefit, especially when you know the enemy is gonna attack. And so the point being, you can allow them to hit you first, but the problem is, what if the blow's too hard? What if these type of things can happen? Each time, if you look at the past, Cyrus, each of the two times that everyone knew that the attack was coming, and yet they attacked, the first blow was brutal. The first blow on the 12-day war had the most impact than anything that happened in the subsequent 11 days. They took out many of their launch pads and many of their missiles and various other things. The first day was brutal, and then with the internal issue they had. So the first attack was brutal. On this war, the first attack killed the children, killed the leader, the supreme leader. The first attack was brutal. So I guess your argument is, let them do that first attack, let them do that brutal attack, and then we'll respond. Now I'm saying, nah, this time you hit, and then you won't get that brutal attack.
no, fair point, Suleiman. It all comes down to what percentage probability the Iranians give to Trump reinitiating the war. I'm really curious what their calculus is and what percentages they're coming up with. I think that's the key point. And the only target I think will be worthwhile, that will make a huge impact on the battle space. I don't know if you guys saw. I think it was about maybe a week ago, or maybe a little more, a couple of days more. There was a footage of literally like 13 tankers or like 10 tankers in Tel Aviv airport, all bunched up very closely, right? And that represents the bulk of the fleet. If Iran, it would have to be a target like that where they would guarantee to like destroy half of those or more, because that will 100% make immediate impact on the sorties that are run. I mean, it will shut the whole thing down. It will reduce.
Great point.
Yeah.
I
But
agree.
so for them, they need to be guaranteed they can hit those, and if that a very tempting target like that, then they could sit there and be like, we have an opportunity to take out 7 of those 10 tankers. Then that would be very tempting for them to risk it. But short of them having something that is so strategically important that would impact the Americans' offensive power, I don't think they would take that kind of risk.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to take it. I'm just saying they should. So we've got a statement from Galibaf. It just came out. He said, quote, all covert and overt actions currently indicate that the enemy intends to restart the war. The people can remain confident that the armed forces of Iran have used the ceasefire to rebuild their capabilities. So that seems to suggest that war is coming. Let's bring in Abdul into the conversation. Abdul, thanks for joining us. Give us your thoughts.
Luan, can I make a point on the resupply of the Iranians and the news bulletin you just read?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. You guys can do some research on this. There is a Chinese anti-ship missile called the C-302. It's much more advanced than any anti-ship missile Iran has. It's a supersonic anti-ship missile. There's very, very few of those in the world. The Russians actually are the experts at the supersonic anti-ship missile. So there were rumors that Iran, right after the ceasefire, that Iran was in negotiations with the Chinese for that platform, for that weapon system. Um, this would be game changing because it is much, much harder to intercept those C-302s. And I'm really curious if there's a secret transfer of that. I would wonder if the Chinese are that bold. And I'm curious if Iran did get it, they would announce it that, hey, we have this as a deterrent. Don't get close to us. But that is a big capability. And if Iran obtains that missile system in the short term, it will have a huge impact on the coastal defense.
Yeah, Cyrus, you don't. I don't think you were in here back then. We had China in here, inevitable China, our Chinese
Yeah, I
buddy.
recall. I
He was
remember him.
already. Yeah, he was going over that, and Suleiman will help me here, but I think we've already discussed this. I think they already have that.
I don't, not officially. They certainly don't have it. They started talking. I mean, you got that Chinaman or whatever. I know he's American, but he embellishes a
Yeah.
lot. He embellishes a ton. So I wouldn't. I go by official sources. That being said, if there has been a transfer, it could be a secret transfer, and Iran may want to keep that secret. But for China, it would be a very aggressive move because if the U.S. finds out, they'll be pissed because. Iran and China are trading partners. They don't have like a military pact, and they don't have a defense pact, right? So China has not taken sides on this war yet. They're very shrewd, as Beatrix mentioned some days ago. The Chinese are super calculated. They want to be on good terms with everybody. So because for that reason, I don't think the transfer has happened. But definitely, the rumor is true. I know Iran wants it and China is willing to give it to them. The question is, does China want to see this thing shut down before taking that step? And I think it's the latter. I think China is too shrewd and they have too much business going with the United States to risk that flashpoint in diplomacy between the U.S. and China.
No secret that China has helped them extensively militarily with intel, with satellite imagery, forward, over the shoulder target projections. There's no secret there.
For sure.
So my point is China couldn't give a rat's ass if the United States is going to be upset about them arming. It's the same thing with Russia. Look at Afghanistan. We were arming the Mujahideen and the resistance against Russia. Look at the Russia and China. They were arming North Vietnam against the Americans. We all know that we kill each other, and yeah, we shake hands. Again, I go back to that very strange meeting where that DARPA guy was there in Beijing, China, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like laughing at me. What are you talking about? Don't you? What I mean? What do you mean? What am I doing here? I'm in a ballistics conference. We're in a very upside down, crazy world, and I just, I think Cyrus. Joa was making some real strong arguments here. We have to also look at the end game here that this strait's closed for a reason, and I think they want this strait closed for a reason, and we can see it happening. But again, I also see your point. It can't stay closed forever, and Joa even realizes it won't stay closed for forever and ever. It'll go to that point where beyond our threshold of pain. But Cyrus, you have to realize there's got to be some military force here. The U.S. is going to do something. I know Beatrice is thinking, there won't be any, but I think we're going to really see something here. I think it's pretty obvious here what we're seeing here, and we just heard that last statement that Suleiman read, where their intel is showing that they're waiting for it.
The only counter argument to that I have, Andrew, is Iran purchased in 2002 the S-300 PMU-2 system from Russia, which is one of the most advanced air defense systems. And Russia failed to deliver it, although it was paid for, till like 2010. And because Russia was trying to still be on good terms with the U.S. and they were trying to kind of wheel and deal, and Russia was trying to be on good terms with the U.S. until the 2008 Bucharest summit, NATO summit, where the U.S. announced that Ukraine and Georgia would be on the track to NATO membership, and Putin drew his red line. And then in 2010, they delivered those missile systems, and that was a defensive system. So for the C-302 system, which could be a mass casualty causing weapon system that's very hard to intercept, I don't think the Chinese would be so willing to give that. Yeah, they'll give rocket fuel, they'll give intel, they'll give stuff you can deny. And they can give components for local weapon systems, that you can get away with. But China and the U.S. are close economically; they are tied to the hip. So I do not think China is going to give Iran that weapon system amidst a conflict. Amidst a ceasefire that could cause, when if it reinitiates, if one of those hit a ship. And
Cyrus, let me ask you: is there any resource America has that China needs, and vice versa?
They desperately need each other right now for their economies. I mean, you saw what happened to the Chinese stock market. If there's any, if there,
China for 20 years has been working on not having single source sourcing, so they would
we're not talking about any particular sourcing, but if you look at any economic analysis on the on the China. I got your point, but you cut me off too. But I'm trying. Let me close this part.
You're not.
I got your point clearly.
No, you clearly don't get the point. So I didn't finish. Is U.S. there are resources that the U.S. needs, especially when it comes to an AI race, from China, especially when it comes to its military equipment from China, especially when it comes to restocking their missiles from China. China does not depend on anything from America, right? So when you say that they're closely bonded and they can't do that, yes, they can.
You don't but
like, that's the problem. Is China has been working on this for years, and the past 20 years they have shifted all their sourcing so that anything they were getting from America that was single source has been changed so that it's no longer
that's sourcing though, right? That's not the economies. That's not the stock market. They are interdependent. If the U.S.
Okay, but the stock market is not the economy, my friend.
You know how much they're vested. Their whole country is vested in it. It matters greatly. It is tremendous wealth. Trillions can be wiped off in a matter of hours. So certainly it matters. People care about all their assets and their wealth parked in the stock market. So if you think that's irrelevant, then you're not living in reality.
No, what seriously matters is that China overnight can decide that U.S. doesn't even have a chance in the AI race if they want to.
We all know about the rare earth minerals. We know the dependency the U.S. has. That it's mainly APIs for pharmaceuticals that we're heavily dependent on them. That would affect us greatly in the rare earth minerals that are pressing right now.
In just about every single piece of electronic on the face of the planet.
That's going too far. I mean, if you look at the sourcing, like Taiwan provides a lot of that for us, and we can also choke off the access to chips to China as well. We can tell Taiwan to not. They're too close. That's why the U.S. and China don't want any conflict. Have you not noticed how good the relationships have been between chips. Even amidst the war? The U.S. and China have kept it very cool.
Cyrus, I saw Trump go there and literally bend the freaking knee. He bent down and kissed Xi's hand. Like, I posted that picture, right? And I said, who's
it was
daddy?
An embarrassment.
It was, who's the daddy? No way are they freaking equal, Cyrus. No way, right? Like, literally. And you know what? I'll go one step further. I think Andrew said, or Andy said that they like to, I think Andrew, you said it, that I did say they were shrewd. And you said they like to have good relationships with everybody. I would take it one step further. And I wouldn't even say that China likes to have good relationships with everybody. I'd say they pull the strings for everybody. They literally are so dominant at the moment that they are with everyone, dictating, pulling strings, doing deals, playing all sides to make sure that they come out on top. They are shrewd. Like, people look at Chinese people and think they're meek, or, they come across like little delicate. They are not. They are vicious and shrewd when they want to be, especially when it comes to trade and business. Absolutely. Cyrus, I'm sorry, but you just had to see Trump go there. Like she didn't even come to receive him. And I think the Iranian delegation went, and he did come to receive them, right? In fact, I don't know why I haven't followed it, but the Qatari delegation has just left Iran, so I don't know what that's about, and I don't know why they were there. But yes, Cyrus, back to you.
I think you're giving a little too much credit for the power they've accumulated. Certainly, they are a powerhouse. They're a superpower. They're rising, undoubtedly. You know, I'm not discounting China. They're very capable, and they've proven it throughout history. They've had some ebbs and flows in their history. You know, obviously, we know their century of humiliation, which is kind of the backbone of their whole messaging. You know that, and rightfully so. They were treated so wrongly. You know, you know, they are our adversary, you know, in America, but I have a lot of sympathy for them. You know, they went through a lot, and and were abused by the Western powers, and they've been very strategically patient in what they want to do. But the only counter I have to that you know, both countries are heavily vested in each other, and if you decouple them economically, both countries' economies would take massive hits. And why stop good business? There's nothing going on. The Iran flashpoint has to do with the Middle East. China just is not going to throw themselves in the middle of a fight when they can continue to make money. China wants to stack their wealth, keep advancing militarily until there's parity. Right now, their stealth technology and their submarine technology isn't up to par. The rest of it is caught up. You know, in some areas they're ahead, and hypersonics and anti-ship ballistic missiles, they are quite a bit ahead. But the reason they can't truly project, it's because of their Navy and their Air Force. And although it's excellent, but it just there is a qualitative edge the U.S. holds that would give that buffer where they would see first and shoot first. It's called
But,
Mhm.
but isn't that only if your objective is offensive, which theirs has not
I
been?
mean, it's not about offensive and defensive. It's when they make their calculations, it's what is the outcome, right? So that's how they project power. That's the idea. You want to project power with your military force and not use it. That's how superpowers should do it. That's why I'm always very critical of the U.S.
No,
government.
that's how
No, I'm
U.S.
trying to
did
say
it.
that's why the U.S. does it wrong. That's not the right way for a superpower to conduct itself. Look at how China's doing it. Look at how Russia's doing it. They're not going out and trying to do regime change and topple governments. And what we've been doing in the last 30 years, it's not the norm, and it's not good strategy at all. You know, all the top academics that are, you know, Americans that are like, hey, this is the wrong way to do our foreign policy. It's not the right. It's not the right way to do it. But with respect to China, I think both countries are taking full advantage of each other. It's a marriage of convenience, and it will reach a point when, over Taiwan, I believe that when the Taiwan issue becomes a thing, and China wants to, China's made it very clear they want to reunify Taiwan. And Taiwan has made it very clear they love how it is. They do not want to be part of China. So there's a clear divide. And to your point, Beatrix, absolutely, this was the weakest trip by a U.S. president. It was embarrassing. And one huge thing came out of it. I haven't heard anybody really talk about it, except one source. Essentially, Trump said that. We'll rethink the next weapons shipment to Taiwan, which has never happened, right? And later on, Xi came out, or one of his spokespersons came out and made an announcement that yeah, the meeting was good, but
Well, the head of the Navy also said that they will not be sending the weaponry to Taiwan because they need it in the Middle East instead.
that
The
too.
new head of the Navy
And
said
we've
that.
done that to South Korea too, and which is absolutely the opposite of what we want to be doing. So you're absolutely right, Suleiman. That's also another detractor. So Trump played a very weak hand. It was the biggest L in a diplomatic visit we've ever had, because China is the most important country we visit, and vice versa. So I took that as a huge sign and a signal of weakening for the Trump's position. And then the Chinese official came out and said that yes, things are okay with America, but as long as they don't impose over Taiwan, we won't have conflict. But we are ready for conflict. So after the visit, China made a aggressive comment. Right. And right after Trump said, hey, yeah, we're going to rethink our next weapons shipment to Taiwan. So I think that is very poor messaging from the U.S. side. I think they want to keep it kind of toned down for now, and I think the U.S. will re-escalate rhetoric after the Iran war is done. I think right now they don't want any trouble, but all of this is very interesting signaling.
Yeah. Andy, jump in.
Do you know
Joe,
how
you
many
gonna say something?
countries actually recognize Taiwan?
Sorry?
Yeah. Do you know how many countries recognize Taiwan? Do you know how many countries recognize
Yeah, I heard you. It
Taiwan?
doesn't matter. I mean, look at how we treat Israel. I mean, if you're the regional, hegemon like the U.S. is,
Okay.
it's the U.S. recognizing it, and it's us giving them a security umbrella. Nobody else matters. When we discuss great power politics, the only relevant countries are Russia, China, and
Well,
the
you're
United States.
finding
So,
out
like all
you're
the rest of the world doesn't matter, unfortunately, right? Because this is not a good thing, right? But that's how the world works. Even before the modern times, when it was Rome, you have to deal with Rome. You were talking about the great powers, and right now the U.S. still has the throne, so it matters if the U.S. recognizes Taiwan, not anybody else. Same with Israel, right? Look at how Israel gets the free
okay.
pass.
I'd love to finish a fucking statement once in a while without you interrupting me. It gets a bit ridiculous. This is not the Cyrus show. Although you speak on every single comment, and anytime anyone speaks, you interrupt them and then cry that people are interrupting you. Can someone finish a statement, please? Right?
To be fair to
Jesus
him,
Christ.
I think he just didn't understand that your question was a rhetorical question, so he went in to answer it. I got that it was rhetorical. Go ahead, Jonah.
Yeah, it was to
You,
Suleiman
you,
anyway,
you
but
asked a
yeah,
question. I
okay.
mean, I
Look,
spoke
it
and you asked
doesn't
a question.
matter.
I
It
answered.
Sorry,
doesn't
Cyrus,
matter.
let him go,
It,
please. This is just killing the
oh,
space
oh,
now. Go ahead, Joel.
yeah, please. Yeah, look, there's 12 countries that recognize China, right? The fact that US recognizes them, yes, that's important. But as we're finding out, global opinion matters. Why? Because people vote with their dollars. And if people vote away from the American dollar, that's a problem. That's actually a bigger threat than China is. So public opinion does matter. And when most of the world does not recognize Taiwan as an individual country because it's part of China, then you have a problem if America goes there. On top of it, I think China's heavily involved in Iran. Why? Because they can see exactly what they need to do if America tries to do the same thing with Taiwan, right? They have almost the same type of setup where they can basically just defend. It's not that far away from mainland China, right? They don't have to play the game that America plays, and they can exert much more force. That's why multiple generals have come out and said, we will not win in this war to save Taiwan, right? There's one war game that says, yes, they would. And the majority of the generals, and we've talked to them, and so has Suleiman, because they've been on the space before, have said America will lose, right? Because there's a difference when you're defending, especially in today's technology, versus having an offensive force. An offensive force is almost never bigger than a defensive force if the militaries are even semi-equal, right? That's the issue. You can't move the entire American military and industrial complex and place it outside of Taiwan. It doesn't happen that way, right? And the way defensive weapons are today, they are very strong and cheap. So that makes it very difficult to be offensive. The day of offensive war for right now, to me, is almost over, unless you
What did you?
fought, right?
You cut out, Joe.
The world is not going to support America saving Taiwan when majority of the world doesn't even recognize Taiwan.
Yeah, I suggest you go revisit those.
Just some more breaking news. Cool. The breaking news is that the UAE is claiming there's widespread GPS and navigation signal jamming across the multiple areas of the UAE. Intense jamming at Ziyad International Airport in Abu Dhabi, as an example. And as you know, if there is attempts or plans for attacks, jamming does occur significantly.
Sounds like Chinese tech, Solomon. They're not
Yeah.
involved though.
Good on Joe. Joe, being from that region, how long does it take to get from what do you call it again? New Jersey to DC? It's like an hour, right?
It could take 3-hour drive. Depends what part of New Jersey.
No. I mean Trump's flight, bro.
Oh, flight? Yeah, less than an hour.
Yeah, it's like an hour, right? So
Not even an
Not
hour.
not even an hour.
Okay. So he'll be arriving back soon. Okay, so I was trying to figure out whether if there's a chance something might happen tonight. So it's possible if he's flown back tonight when he was meant to stay over, right?
That means we're not closing the space. Get ready, Solomon.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to. Yeah, I think we'll have to keep it open.
What do
Still
you
gonna
mean
do the
we're not
interviews, but
closing the space? Like, you're a part-timer at best, Jonah.
what do you
I'd
mean?
like to say the
Joe is
we, if
the
you're going to
foundation of
do...
the space. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's got to do his shift then, hasn't he?
He's energized himself up with his steak, and so he's ready. He's ready to go. I was telling people about your steak, Joe.
And Beatrix, we have a V2. Beatrix V2 was up on stage yesterday.
No, there ain't. There's only ever one Beatrix, right? There ain't no V2. Okay, Jonah.
Is the upgrade? Is it the upgrade, Joy?
Suleiman, can I make a
I'm gonna
quick
boot him.
reply?
V2's only an
Huh?
upgrade.
What was that,
Can I
Joy?
I'm
make
gonna boot him. Is it a reply to defend me, Cyrus? That's the only thing you can make a reply on.
always?
Let's go to wait. No, that Andy. Let's go to Andy. Let's get Andy in the
Yeah,
conversation.
so
Go ahead,
yeah,
Andy. Jump in.
with China, I mean, I had a friend, I think I've shared the story before, but during the 12-day war, he's like, this completely exposes the US as a paper tiger. Like, we have our best missile defense systems in Israel, and Iranian stuff is getting through there. So, and he's like, this is, if I were the US, I would be pissed at Israel. Like, he obviously knows about Israel controlling our politics, but he'd be like, I'd be pissed because this completely exposes the US and shows China that they could basically do whatever they want. Like, just think about it. Iran's not launching massive volleys of 1,000 drones or missiles. So just think of the scale of stuff that Iran has. China probably has even more. Like, if we even dared to try to defend Taiwan, they could literally launch a swarm of 1,000 drones and 1,000 missiles at our bases in South Korea and Japan. So even before we depleted our interceptors, you think we're going to stop that? Like, China's hypersonics are even better than Iran's, and Iran's are already really freaking good. So that just isn't an option. Like, a war with China would basically be mutually assured destruction in a conventional way. Like, sure, could our submarines take out China's fleet? Absolutely. Could China's missiles sink our carriers and our surface ships? Yes, they could also do that. So nobody wins in that situation unless you want the entire. There's no winning if the US loses their navy and China loses their navy and tens of thousands of lives are lost on each side drowning in the ocean. That would be absolutely horrific. There's no way the US can just protect its ships from missiles. The US can't even protect its own ships from a few Iranian drones. What do you think's going to happen if China fires 100 ballistic missiles at a carrier? There's nothing you can defend that with. This isn't World War II where it's carriers and planes against carriers and planes anymore. No, you can strike something from thousands of miles away with a precision guided missile. So, like, a carrier sitting out way back by Guam could be hit by a Chinese missile. Like, and again, we have the best submarines. We've been over this, so that would be an equalizer to stop China's fleet. But again, there's no winning.
Yeah, the war game results are mixed. The CSIS, in their estimation, the U.S. wins every time. However, with massive losses in all cases, they lose two carriers, not the whole battle group. But I mean, that's a price the U.S. won't pay. I mean, Andrew can probably answer this, but I think a super carrier has 3,000 sailors on it. I'm not sure if that number's
Five.
correct.
Yeah, well, they were 5,000, over 5,000 on one carrier.
There you have it. So clearly, that's not a price we're willing to pay. So you can consider that as a loss. Although we prevail, we stop the amphibious landing, so Taiwan will be saved, but the U.S. Navy will be decimated, and the Chinese Navy will be decimated. So it's a form of mutually assured destruction. So it's not going to be a cakewalk for China. There will be heavy losses on their side, and I think we will prevail. My assessment is at this point, they are not a peer competitor. They are a near peer competitor. That's the verbiage the military uses. And I believe that, but just understanding their capabilities and their platforms. However, I think they're making so much money together. They're not even looking at each other as military adversaries. Right now, they're just strategic adversaries. So I think China wants to play it cool. For those reasons, I don't think they've transferred that C-302 weapon system. I think that would be a big deal. And these transfers of super high tech weaponry, offensive weaponry, are looked at closely. I don't think China would risk it.
Cool. Let's go to Miss Lou. Go ahead, Miss Lou.
Your mic's muted, Miss Lou.
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. Fat fingers. I just wanted to say one thing. My disappointment with the current administration is this. We went in thinking we were going to get a business oriented president doing global business, and instead we become a war economy again. It's like it never stops. And so I just think the perception of the American people is that America first has gone down the drain. So anyway, I agree with what Andy and Joe were saying about, getting into any kind of kinetics with China is destructive for both. And I do want to ask you guys why it came up regarding the Tulsi Gabbard resignation. What are your thoughts on this?
What's your thoughts on it? And just one thing, Miss Lou, he is a business orientated president, but only business for him and his family. That's all he's doing. Like he's literally doubled his wealth and made billions for his family.
Well,
so
I think
very
people, Beatrice, I think people are beginning to see that. And I think that's part of the problem too. I voted for him 3 times. I was hardcore MAGA. And what I've realized is MAGA now is more of a cult and less of a political movement. It has become a cult. It is not a pro middle class, pro working class. Let's get America back on the right tracks. That isn't happening. And we're paying for it. The American people are paying for all this. So, I mean, you can see it. People vote with tabletop issues. They always have and they always will. And I think this is going to cost the GOP the midterms big time. But that's my opinion. Am I hoping for that? No. I look at it this way. If we vote on one side, and I don't look at sides anymore, I don't see it as right or left anymore. But if we don't be careful who we put in power, and I'm losing faith in a lot of it, I just don't want us to go back to a communist oriented, censorship, cancel America, all the things that we went through 4 years ago. Open borders, all that kind of policy. It wasn't even rhetoric, it was real. So anyway, my opinion on Tulsi is I had good faith in her. I really did. I thought she was really trying to get some things done. I know there are people who say that she was an op for this country and an op for that country and, whatever. I do agree, as she had said earlier, like Joe Kent, that she was not in favor of war. And then because of the administration she worked for, she had to come out and basically be in favor of it. But I don't think she ever bought into it. I don't know the real reason she resigned. However, she stated that her husband was sick, and that's certainly a valid reason. But I think there's more to it than that. My spidey sense smells trouble. And who are they going to put in, right? Are they going to put in another, pro-Zionist, you can't criticize Israel or can't criticize this or that and put them in? Because it seems to me, the whole Massey thing, Massey stated he doesn't think his election was stolen per se, but he does think it was bought. So whether you agree that an election is purchased or it's stolen, the result is the same, is it not? And there are so many anomalies to the election. There were 10,000 mail-in votes that came in at the last minute. What does that smell like? 2020. I mean, it's almost like the same MOs are being used in election theft. Can I prove it? No, I don't have receipts, and it's just an opinion at this point. That's all I can present. But I do know that that is true about the ballots because it has come from a couple of really good sources. So that's really all I have to say. I really appreciate you guys giving me the mic and to be able to listen to good conversations. I'm not one of those people. I will go into MAGA spaces and talk to them. I'm not one of those people. I get criticized all the time saying, but you went in this space and you went in this space. I go, yeah, because I don't suck on anybody's thumb. If I hear something that's true and it can be validated as truth, I go with that. I don't care what label you want to give it. So anyway, thank you all very
Miss
much.
Lou, can I give you something, though,
Of
Miss Lou?
course.
Do you think an extra $32 million spent in this race would get an extra 50,000 votes?
I think it's possible if
'Cause that's
if
what
there's
it,
enough. First of all,
yeah,
people are
'cause
very influenced in that. It's a lot of a rural area. There's a lot of older people there. Not if the young people got out and vote, who knows what the turnout was 300% over the normal turnout for that district,
no,
and I think a
no,
lot of
no,
that is
no, no.
television.
No, it was 100%. It was 100%. There was 350% for the opponent of Massey, right?
Correct.
In comparison to the last.
Correct.
But in terms of total people, there was 100% increase. But there's 32 million extra, right? That's like several hundred thousand. No, sorry. That's over $200 a
Right.
person in media
Right.
that was focused on people going to vote, not for the other candidate, but against
Yeah,
Massey,
that's
right? Because they made Massey look like the
Joey, you're
devil.
right. And the thing that's also worrisome is they send in the, you know, the sec def. I guess he's the sec warn now since we're no longer the Department of Defense. They send him in. I mean, come on, we got the Pentagon involved with that. And they said he's there for personal reasons. Yeah, okay. If you want to believe that, then, you know, my ranch is underwater. So anyway, thank you very much. Good points. And I'm just so cynical about everything now, but I'm okay with it. I'm free because you can be free when you think you're no longer part of a cult or a political movement. You just want to see policies that are going to work for this country and the people in it. Thank you, guys.
Miss Lou, thank you. Oh, I think Dr. Michael wanted to say something to you, but he's dropped. But what I will say is the censorship is still rife under Trump. It's not that there isn't. He came down hardcore with anybody who spoke out against the genocide. People, we were talking about this earlier, you know, people were lynched on the streets. ICE came out for that reason. And I know they kind of framed it as migrants and stuff, but it wasn't. It was literally, you've got more and more laws coming out to restrict people's free speech. That's all censorship. And who knows why Tulsi Gabbard resigned? I don't believe that official version that they've given us, right? Which is her husband's got cancer and therefore she's leaving. I do think there's something more, and it could be something really sinister. Maybe there's an incoming false flag, and she wasn't up for it. You know what I mean? Who knows what it could be? But I'm like you, I don't believe it.
Could be what U.S. is planning with Iran now. I mean, she literally said that that Iran is not developing a nuke, right? And then turncoat within 2 days, right? So, you know, she played ball with the party, and then probably she regrets it. You
I
know,
don't know if you guys see this. I'm
um,
73 years old and I was in college during the Vietnam War. And I've watched Iraq, I've watched Afghanistan, I've watched all the horrors in the Middle East that we have no business sticking our nose in my opinion. We can't just run our own ship and then try and be benefit to the world. We have to create these regime changes that don't work. They never did. The CIA and its Gladio operations and everything else has made a mess of things. And they're not alone. They've got MI6 and Mossad and a bunch of other fun intel groups that are all part of the industrial military complex and the global order of, you know, the one world order crowd. You know, I just think, you know, per what you guys are saying, it's just I don't trust any of it. You know, I just don't. So we just have to stay frosty and try and support the people who are trying to get the truth across and who care about this country. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Joe, just a couple of quick questions to you. Is it Memorial Day weekend in America today, or any American?
yeah,
So
this
is
weekend I
Monday
believe
off?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because I am reading that Trump, this is the reason why that he may think that this is going to be a good 4 days of striking and then basically do 4 days of war and then end. So this is a high possibility something may happen tonight. And the other question was, Joe.
yeah, extra time with the market
Yeah,
close,
exactly.
right? Which he loves.
Exactly. And then the other question to you, Joe, is I'm also seeing something, but I don't know how to verify this. You may know that apparently Trump sold all his crypto. Is this true?
No, I'll check though. But you know, it's typically what he's done, Suleiman. I was just thinking, typically he'll make an announcement and then go to war and then profit from that announcement. And I'm like, oh, but he didn't make an announcement. So are they attacking this weekend? But he did. He made an announcement yesterday that they're just hours away from an agreement, right? Except the market really didn't move on that news. Like people are not reacting to his tweets anymore. Right. So then that does follow the normal MO of him trying to manipulate the market right before an attack.
Yeah, now that he can't manipulate the market, then that's when he's going to attack because he can't get any more juice out.
The oil market's dropped a bit though.
Yeah. And Suleiman, he could
True. If you were
he
market
could sell.
focused, I mean, obviously, if you're not war focused or market focused, the best move is to make a strike because if you strike Iran, it basically makes the market move in an extravagant manner. Then you maybe 4 days later, which is his plan apparently according to this, you basically have a peace agreement and then the market drops. So already you've got two major fluctuations there, and then there'll be more fluctuations, especially if he's not got, as you mentioned, much juice left in his statements. Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. And Suleiman, the thing about him selling all his crypto, I don't know if that's true, but even if it is, his family's wealth is heavily, like, is almost all in crypto nowadays. And they're not unwinding that because of World Liberty Financial, which is an absolute crime scene. And this week, I don't know if you saw, they had some deal with the DA that's basically he signed this thing where he no longer has any claim. And then part of that, they're going to give 1.6 billion to the J6ers. But the part no one's talking about is it wipes away the DA being able to go after him or any family members for any wrongdoing until today, right? So basically, he didn't pardon himself and his family. He got the DA to pardon himself and his family for anything done till now. And if you look at World Liberty Financial, that is the same thing Sam Bankman-Fried did and is serving in jail right now, which was basically using his own asset to fund loans, which is why Sam is in jail, right? And he did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, he just got away with murder this week.
And just some more reports about what's happening. So this is according to CBS News. They said the US is indeed preparing to resume strikes on Iran. But as of this afternoon, no decision was made. Additionally, per reports, members of the intelligence community and the military have been cancelling Memorial Day weekend plans as defense and intelligence officials update recall rosters to facilitate the movement of personnel out of the region. Such efforts would take previously, when they did this, was to limit the amount of US personnel who would get harmed by attacks on Iran. So CBS is also reporting this as well. Let me just see something else. I'm just seeing some else. Okay, yeah, that's the latest on that. Sorry, who wanted to speak? Go ahead, jump in. Let's go to Trev. Trev, did you want to add anything?
Not right now. I'm mostly just listening. I'm writing some articles and stuff on the side. So, you guys making some really
Yeah, you
great
don't.
points.
Cool. Thanks for that. Guys, if you can not request if you're not going to speak, it's not like a chill out session, so you can just get
Philemon,
followers.
I'm going to drop down to give you more space on the stage.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Go ahead, jump.
Please take me, Mr.
Go ahead, Andy, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, the officials canceling their Memorial Day weekend plans is kind of telling that they're at least strongly considering strikes. That obviously isn't a guarantee of anything, but skipping plans for a major American holiday that's meant to honor our fallen soldiers is crazy. And it would just be really sad if Trump struck this weekend and got more Americans killed on a weekend that's meant to remember the fallen. And it would be absolutely tragic to see more soldiers die this weekend. But it's looking like that's a strong possibility, especially now with the fact that we know the U.S. is lower on those standoff munitions, so they're going to have to fly further over Iranian airspace, and which will lead to more planes getting shot down than earlier during the war. I think the estimates were they only have at most a few weeks of standoff munitions left. They don't have 40 days of standoff munitions. So if this starts again and drags on, the planes are going to actually have to deal with Iranian air defenses. This isn't Venezuela where there isn't a sophisticated air defense. Like Iran has built their own air defenses that are pretty capable, and they've gotten some from Russia and possibly China that I don't even think they've used yet, because I think they've been holding them in reserve for when the time comes, which I think is a pretty strategic strategy. I think they're trying to lure the US in, make them have this false sense of security that, okay, we can fly over Iran and do what we want, which is absolutely not the case if they got those advanced air defenses up and running.
Gigi, jump in. Gigi?
Can you hear Suleiman?
I can't hear her. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
No, me
No,
neither.
her mic
No.
is off. Can't
Gigi,
hear
you
her.
might have to, yeah, Gigi, you might have to rejoin. I think don't attack the mic. I'm so sorry, Gigi, he does that. You're gonna have to drop and rejoin. We can't hear you, love.
There's a report of heavy air traffic over Elliot in Israel. That's a point that they would use in order to launch a strike. It does seem like something's coming tonight, to be honest. It's there's too much happening. I actually thought there wouldn't be anything tonight, to be honest. I thought it was going to be. But I guess that, because one of the things we were discussing was like, would he want the war to be continuing whilst this pilgrimage? But I guess in his mind, he thinks it's going to be one of those like 4-day things. Let's get Cyrus in this conversation. Cyrus, question to you: what do you think about the possibility that what do you think about the possibility that Trump succeeds in his plan? And what I mean by that is, in his mind, he wants to basically do the war for 4 days and then stop. What's your thoughts on him being able to achieve that, or do you think it ends up going longer once he tries this?
I think it all depends on what targets he hits. If he just goes really heavy on non-critical civilian infrastructure and economic infrastructure, I think if he keeps it to kind of, regime strongholds, whatever you want to call it, right? And the only thing he would gain from that would be for his base, for his fanatical cult base, and because right now he feels like America thinks he's winning, he wants to put if he does this for a 4-day strike, as you put it, and that is the other alternative I gave it, because if there is a war, I don't think he's going to go after infrastructure. I think it'll be exactly as you described it. He wants to get the last lick in. He wants to get the last punch in, and so I think very plausible, especially with all the activity going on. What really exclamates this is Tulsi quitting, and the media has been quite quiet about it. The mainstream media is keeping it very hush and not really highlighting it. Very suspect. That's the lead intelligence official in the country. So the timing is very peculiar, and this is the highest point of war we've had since we've been on these spaces, since the ceasefire. By far, it's highly elevated. And yet, it wouldn't be a real success. I mean, obviously, to the global community, anyone who has a realistic worldview, the U.S. has lost this. There's nothing they can do to take the L away. He can't. There's no way around it. He's lost.
But
And
just on that, 1 second. So just let's just tease out some of the points you're saying, because I
Mhm,
want to get into specifics.
mhm.
So my issue with this, like, if Trump, why is it we're in a scenario where Trump thinks he can do a 4-day war and just end? Like, why would Iran just stop when he wants to stop and start when he wants to stop? This is my problem with the way this whole like defensive thing, like, oh, you'll hit, we'll hit back. You hit, basically saying, Trump, you hit us whenever you want, whenever you feel like it, and we'll go around your timetable.
Great point. Great point. And some of the analysts that I respect, I'm not going to name names, but some really smart people make your point exactly. In fact, they are suggesting that Iran should continue. If the U.S. does what you're suggesting and tries to stop in 4 days, Iran should keep the pressure on the GCC and hit certain targets. They didn't go in depth, but you make a super valid point, and I agree. I agree
The
because
only thing I wouldn't do if I was Iran is if US doesn't hit the infrastructure, and if you remember, I was saying that I didn't think that they'd hit the infrastructure. If the US doesn't hit the infrastructure, then Iran, that's the one that I think Iran shouldn't do. Like, Iran should hit their infrastructure if they hit Iran's infrastructure, because in that way, that just keeps it off limits, and that's good for like really everyone, really. But I guess but other than that, I would never stop. I would just continue pounding these countries.
I suspect Iran is in their leadership meetings. They're talking about the exact same thing in detail. They're trying to pick out the targets.
I don't
And
know, bro. I just feel like, to be honest, I feel like when I look at what Iran's psychology is, it's like, okay, you hit us, I'm gonna hit you back. You hit us, like, it's not, we're gonna continue pounding. But let's see, because and this is why then many people, like, who think that maybe there's collusion, they believe that because it's almost like tit for tat. Whereas, you should just go in hard. Like, you know what I
I mean,
mean? They
how much?
shouldn't be able to just strike your country whenever you want. At the end of the day,
So
Paul
if you
said it, right? People in Iran are suffering, and they'll be suffering more than the Americans. So when you're doing that, you're kind of falling into the American trap, to be honest.
I agree, but if you go look at the satellite images, I mean, Iran exacted heavy punishment. I mean, they did
I agree
a
with
lot.
that. You just repeating things that I agree with. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
but
saying,
you're saying why stop? I get it. I get it. This time, I
yeah,
don't think they will, and because they've been very measured, right? I think maybe a bit too measured. I think they've played it correct. I think they've been really on point. You want them to be a little more aggressive. These are personal kind of differences in opinion, you
true,
know?
true.
But I think this time around, I think you'll be surprised. I think they will.
Let's see. Yeah, yeah, of course. I want them to be. Let's go to Joe. Did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, it's confusing to me because Iran, eh, eh, to Cyrus, Iran is winning, but China, which is much bigger, would be defeated by America. I just don't get the
Say
logic,
that again. Sorry.
right? Iran is nowhere near as powerful as China. Iran is nowhere near as powerful as China,
What
right?
we? Sorry. What you?
But
Is
is
this? Are you talking to me or to Cyrus?
Yeah. So Joe, my response.
I
Oh
was
wait, wait.
talking to you
Let
about
Cyrus let
Cyrus,
Joe
but
finish his point. I know it's hard to do it.
You just jumped in. You're
Joe,
asking if he's talking to me or
no,
you.
but
I'm
he
just
hadn't finished his
saying.
point. I was asking Joe as he's addressing me or you. It doesn't mean you just immediately
Yeah, I was
interrupt.
addressing you about Cyrus, but I could address
Yeah,
Cyrus. I don't understand where America would lose against China over Taiwan, but Iran can beat America. It just doesn't, like, China's way more powerful than Iran. So why would China lose against America? It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, well, Iran hasn't had a total conventional win. Iran has, in an asymmetric round, dominated, right? So, if as you can see, the U.S. is flying sorties all around Iran. You know, call it air superiority or not, the U.S. can exact heavy damage with superior firepower. If you count the warhead size of Iranian weapons and how many they're landing, and the 2,000-pound bombs America's dropping, you need to really break this down in a granular way and study warfare in a more in-depth way. Then you'll understand. You know, I've spent years studying this stuff. So you just need to catch up.
Okay, so the generals that say that America would lose, they know less than you do, apparently. Okay, I need to study.
Which general said we would lose? All the war games we've conducted have
So,
said we win in
so,
Taiwan, but at a
so,
great cost. Like,
Suleiman, were you not on a space with me where generals came onto the space and said that we would lose in Taiwan and that the war games are wrong and here's why they were wrong? And the whole amphibious thing is a pipe dream because they wouldn't do it amphibiously. They'd actually drop in from the sky. So the whole war game was made on something that's completely invalid because that's not how they would attack.
yeah,
You remember,
we've ran
Suleiman?
multiple war games on supercomputers in actual physical war games. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars on war games. So if you have no confidence in the U.S. military, that's your thing. You know, we were pretty transparent with our capabilities, and we announced
How'd that war game go in Iran, Cyrus?
exactly how it was predicted. All the war games predicted Iran.
Uh,
Very funny. That's your. So you have no real argument. So you're making all the war games.
No, I'm
Hey,
not. I
let me.
just proved you
No, you didn't.
wrong. You're
All
like,
the
trust
war
the
games
war
say we
games.
lose in the Strait of Hormuz. All of them predicted this. Only Trump and his Israeli.
No, they
All the
didn't.
go
No, they
read
did
it. Go
not.
read it. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, they
Even in
did not.
2002, they did. You have no. They spent $250 million on a war game that said they would lose in the Strait of Hormuz.
The
You're very
2002 thing had
unstudied.
nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz, Cyrus. Nothing
You're
whatsoever.
Yeah,
Go read the
Cyrus,
war
you're
game.
making
Go
shit
read
up
the war games.
because
I'm
the
not
war
making it
game
up. Do your
said
research. The war game
the.
said we would get
Yes,
stuck
you
in the Strait of
are,
Hormuz. Go read it. I'm not here to educate you.
bro. You're making it so
You got
much
to
up
spend your own
that
time to learn.
Manco is even and Manco's even defending me.
Yeah, Manco
Right?
Manco
You
doesn't know what he's
literally
talking
the
about.
war games. Literally
But I know you're
the
talking
war
about. Hey,
games in
wait,
Iran.
Cyrus, what is the
Yeah,
name of that war game
Which
that
one? The
you're
one in
referencing?
which
Yeah,
one?
the one that
Which
you're
year?
referencing, the 2002 one.
The Millennium Challenge 2002. That was
Okay.
the oldest one, but we've done one in 2013. We've done one in
The
2019.
2002 that always
All of
gets
them. But that's the
cited
oldest one. That's the oldest
had,
one. Let's go to the new
listen, it
ones.
had nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz, though.
It brought it
That's
up.
not what it
It's
had to
right
do.
in there. It's
It
about.
was
They
the
talk about the
Marine
fast swarm.
general
They talk about the
who,
fast swarm boats. What are you talking about? Go read
yeah,
it.
yeah, because this
The
guy
Strait of
made
Hormuz
some
is
fictional
a quarter
boats
of it.
where,
Look,
hold
man.
on, he made little speedboats and he put giant anti-ship missiles on them that never would have worked in real life. And he did all sorts of things to like hack the rules of the game, basically cheating and exploiting. And so because of that, they had to reset the game. But the idea
Do you
that
know how many we've ran
little
since then?
speedboats
That was
would
over
beat the
20
U.S.
years ago.
Navy. Hold on, the idea that the little speedboat would beat the U.S. Navy, which is something that got like widely reported since, It's complete garbage, complete nonsense, has no validity to it whatsoever.
Okay, great, man. Because you know how many we've ran since then, and Iran didn't have short-range anti-ship ballistic missiles. They didn't have anti-ship cruise missiles that they make by the thousands, right? So the capabilities have changed,
Cyrus,
and you saw it.
the
And
modern war
Joe, look, you
games.
saw what happened, right? Look, you saw what happened, and go read the war games. You're uneducated. You know nothing about military warfare. You know nothing about this stuff. You just
You just called out
go
something.
study your false
You
finance,
just
man. You go focus on your companies.
someone got really triggered. Someone got really
Nobody got
triggered.
triggered.
Apparently,
You're literally sitting here gaslighting, saying, "Go read the war
you
games." And you're like,
are. Look,
go look
You're
at
a
it,
little
dude.
worked
Go
up,
spend time. Go
Cyrus.
read.
Like
You're
you
you're
literally
uneducated,
I don't
dude.
said,
know
You're
what the
smart
hell.
but uneducated. Joe,
"Look,
you're smart, but you're very
Cyrus,
very
this is what
uneducated
people
on the
need to
subject.
do. This is what people need to do when they don't know the material, right? Because the war games, what it showed was that if the boats were too close to Iran, they would lose. So then they had to run a war game again. And that war game showed that we would win because we were parked far away and they wouldn't be able to use asymmetric warfare
How
against
are you
us.
going to open the
And then
strait
we
from
would
far
win.
away?
And
You
guess
have to
what?
get
They were
up in it. What are you
wrong.
talking about?
They were
You
wrong.
cannot open the Strait of Hormuz from far away. What are you talking about? Project Freedom showed that.
They were
Joe, you don't know
wrong
what you're
because they would
talking about.
pound them so
Joe,
much.
how are they
No, but
wrong?
Because they would
Cyrus,
pound them.
listen, Joa
All of
is
the
correct.
Jesus Christ,
On the
Cyrus,
first day.
there weren't drones
Mancos,
then.
you think
Cyrus,
Iran
you
has no
moron.
capabilities but RPGs on
No,
speedboats? You
no,
have
but
Mancos.
listen
You
to me.
always detract from all the facts. Your
No,
words
I
mean
don't.
nothing.
But
You're a
Joe is
propagandist
correct.
and you're a
On the first
liar,
day of
Mancos.
that
Nobody
very
wants to
old
hear
war
it.
game, on the
Say that
first
for
day of that
yourself.
very old war game, they made the blue team like have the ships parked really close to the shore so that the red team could just run out and ambush them and throw everything they had at them in a short time. That was the main problem. And then when they
Looks like
reset
you need to
everything, they
study,
didn't do it
Yeah,
Cyrus.
that way.
listen to Mancos, the big propagandist that says Iran has no capability. 90% of their missiles have been depleted. Iran
It's
can't hit back. Yeah, go listen to Mancos. The
No,
one
it
time
was
he
90%.
takes your.
Hold on. The Pentagon said it was 90% of their defense industrial base was depleted, not 90% of their missiles.
How many of their missiles do you think they were depleted?
Well, while the war was still going
No,
on,
right now.
Hold on. This was like toward the later end, but while the war was still going on, and I talked about this with Suleiman, the Department of
He
Defense
said
assessment
82% of their
was.
missiles are gone, not their military base, Manco.
I know
He
this is
literally
missiles.
said
Hold
that.
on. I'm telling you, the last actual assessment that they gave was they have high confidence that 1/3 of the missiles are gone, high confidence that 1/3 of the missiles are
Breaking
not
82%.
news.
gone.
Breaking news. Sorry,
Hold
I'm
on.
just gonna.
Okay.
Sorry, Monk. I'm gonna give it back to you. Just give you some breaking news. Entirety of Iranian airspace has been cleared out. Iran and Iran. There's no flights going over Iran. Basically, it's been cleared out completely. And Iran's airport authority did say that entire airspace would be closed as well in the next hour or so. So that's one movement. And then the other movement, I haven't posted about it yet, but I'm about to post it, is something, what's his name again? Cyrus mentioned, which is that the pizzerias are basically orders are blowing up as well. So it looks like something may be coming. But sorry, back to you, Beatrix and Manco.
Yeah, and like you said,
Here,
also.
November 2025. By the way, Hegseth said we lose if China tries to take Taiwan. Just there you go, Cyrus.
Yeah, Hegseth is very
Looks like you
unqualified.
need to study some more.
Yeah, Hegseth, that's your source,
But don't you
Hegseth.
trust?
The one person, the most unqualified, the most
Don't you
treacherous
trust?
turncoat person. Great. Yeah,
Okay,
your,
how
your
about
sources are
Admiral Philip
Mancos
Davidson?
and
Okay,
your sources are
okay,
Mancos and Hegseth. That says a
hold
lot
on,
about you,
hold
Joa.
on.
Great. Go hang out with your buddies, Hegseth and
Can you hold
Mancos.
on? Okay,
Oh my
Admiral
God,
Philip
Cyrus?
Davidson, General Michael Millihan, General Flynn, Kirk Linpold, David Okelman, ex-DOD.
Wait,
Are any
Joa,
of those
what was
credible?
the date
Who
on the
said you should
Hegseth
trust
thing
our
again?
military?
What day did you say?
November
November something?
2025. Yeah,
Was
November
it just
2025.
November? You don't know what day it was?
No, I can ask though. 1 sec.
Okay. I just want to correct something. Manco, 82% of their missiles have gone, is what Trump said literally a few days ago.
Oh
Their
yeah, if he
missiles have
said
gone.
that,
80.
I mean, but that's Trump. I don't really listen. Look, Trump. Some of the things he says maybe are true, but I take most
I
of
agree,
what Trump
Trump's a
said
liar. Is that what you're trying
with a
to
grain
say
of
in a
salt.
roundabout way, that he's a liar?
I think Trump is he speaks in a
Liar is the
very
word you're looking for.
hyperbolic way. He speaks in a
Franco,
way that
the short word is
has a loose
liar.
association with reality.
Liar. Try it. Just try it. He's a liar. Have an allegiance to the truth, Franco. Say it. He's a liar.
Trump has a creative interpretation of the truth.
You can't bring yourself to say it. So funny. So funny. Well, I'll give it to you. You're outright loyal to him. I'll give it to you. Right, let's go to Gigi. Gigi, jump in. Gigi?
Yeah, and real quick, just to back up Joa. So I was looking up the quote. So apparently in November 2025, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stated that in the Pentagon's simulated war games against Chinese forces, we lose every time. And that was reported in the New York Times.
Can you hear me?
We can now, Gigi. We can
Thank you
now.
so much. Well, it was a while ago that I wanted to say something. Suleiman asked Joa about whether.
Sorry, ask who, Gigi?
Suleiman asked Joa a few minutes.
Who? Ask who? Jonah?
You're funny, Beatrice. But yes, Jonah.
Solomon, get V2 up. Who's in the audience? Get V2 up here. Let's switch her out.
Ask if Trump sold crypto. I was just going to add something. Liberty Financial sold Bitcoin yesterday of the worth of $250 million. And they've done that before. It's not the first time, but it caught the news this time. Why they do it is important, because they're preparing another maybe call option for what they're doing, they're going to do in Iran, or if they're going to attack or whatever. They sold it, so they put another call option on the oil, for example, or whatever. They have done that multiple times. They have then bought it again. They also bought 2 weeks ago. They bought Bitcoin when it went down. So they're trading. Basically, they're trading. It's all insider trading, obviously. All the time, and they're trading with our life. They're trading with the children in Manap. It's just a big trade. I was listening to you guys. Everybody has different opinion of whether it's going to be a kinetic war or whether it's not going to be. To me, in Donald Trump's view, this war is going to continue until he can make money out of it. As I said before, Israel has a different agenda. They want to annex Lebanon. So it doesn't matter how much we sit here and we pull our hair and try to think what's going to happen. We have to follow the money. I'm sure they have put they bought some option last minute today. We will know that by Monday. And yes, they sold some crypto to buy option, but it doesn't mean they're out of Bitcoin, or they're profiting from just pumping and dumping, pumping and dumping, pumping and dumping. And until this play works, they will continue.
Gigi, from what I saw after Solomon mentioned it to me, I did look into it. What happened is they transferred Bitcoin from World Liberty Financial to Truth Social, because Truth Social is losing $455 million in a hole, and they need to make 200 million up. And apparently they moved their funds to crypto.com in order to sell it, which, they moved it to crypto.com. Most people assume that he's going to sell it, because typically you only move Bitcoin on chain when you want to sell. But it is because of Truth Social's financials that they're trying to cover, it seems like.
It's not that they lost faith on Bitcoin or anything. It's just that they know in the short term they can make more money somewhere else. Many people, many old Bitcoin.
Or they know they're going to attack this weekend.
Yeah, they know. So they have to have, you play market, for call option, for big option, you need to put some money in. So they cash from one place, put it in another place, make a lot of money. Don Jr., that is getting married this weekend, have you looked at the size of his fund? Since his father became president of United States of America, his fund has been 5x higher. He's now sitting at $5 billion. It's just money. I wish Simon was here. Joa, you say everything.
I wish people understood that is money stolen from people.
It is money
Like,
stolen
I wish
from middle class. It's money stolen from everyone, you and I and everyone. Yes.
Yeah, I wish people understood that better.
Also from Manco.
If I was,
Also from Manco. And Cyrus.
yeah, from Manco too. But Manco doesn't care. Manco would give Trump his PIN number for
Yeah,
sure.
but I mean, it's sad. As I said, it's really sad to see how cheap the vote of American can be bought. What happened to Thomas Massey is a disgrace. Not that I'm pro him or against him or anything, but it's really interesting. Anyway, thank you for giving me the mic. Have a wonderful, wonderful space, guys. Now that Manco is here, I have to drop down and because I want my sanity. Good night.
Cool. Just some more news, guys. First things first, obviously there is and does seem to be a lot of escalation. Highly likely the war is gonna restart. Okay, so we've got some major breaking news. In KC-135, Stratotank tanker took off from Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv and turned off its flight responder immediately after takeoff. One KC-46 Pegasus refueling tanker is also flying over Iraq as well. So there does seem like something's happening. And by the way, I didn't actually think anything was going to happen. I was planning to end the space at 1. I'm not going to 1 UK's, which is what 8 p.m. But we're not. We're going to continue the space going. Obviously, the interviews we have, they're going to go as well. We're going to continue doing the interviews, but the space will run. We'll give you breaking news as and when we get that. If anything is happening. Also, just to give you more information, what I'm going to be doing is if the war does restart, the space, I'm going to run it on the second channel. And the reason is because it's not, you can't basically switch between the two because of a number of issues. So basically, if the war does start, because I'm going to be going a lot more longer hours, what guys, on the main YouTube channel, the space will be ran on the other channel, the second channel. So if the chat can put that in, that's what's going to happen. So not now, obviously we continue on, but I mean, like when I'm doing the interviews, if the war starts, then obviously I'll give you the breaking news as and where it happens. And then straight after it, the space will reconvene, but on the second channel. And so because the space is going to be on the second channel, everyone needs to watch, like they don't say anything that is like bannable or anything. But hopefully, I think we kind of don't really do that anyway. We keep it very geopolitical. But anyway, just so everybody's aware of what's going on. But that's the breaking news. A KC-135 Strato tanker took off from Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv and immediately turned off its transponder. That's the latest news. Who are we going for? Who want?
But just to clear that, Suleiman, really quickly. For now, the space is going to continue on the Suleiman Ahmed X channel. Then when you do the interviews, we move to Moral Resistance channel. And then after the interviews, you'll give the breaking news in between all the interviews and stuff, of course. You will continue the space on the Moral Resistance channel. Correct?
Well, you're a really good listener, Beatrix. You're improving a lot.
I'm not saying that for my benefit. I'm saying it for the YouTube, because when you say second channel, first channel, these guys, they're just on a channel. Do you know what I mean? They don't have numbers for it. So I'm helping our YouTube community out. That's why I'm saying it. Okay, so now we're all clear. So everybody knows what's going on. It takes a chick to break it down.
Breaking news. Trump is now back in DC. Trump is now back in DC after cancelling. Beatrix, are you basically saying that people in YouTube are not smart? But that's mine. That's a bit tight. But after cancelling his weekend plans in New Jersey,
No.
CBS is reporting intelligence officials have also cancelled Memorial Day plans. Are on standby. Something's happening. Something's imminent. So he's back in DC now.
Did you see the Axios
So
report?
you interrupted your breaking news just to have a pop at me and go back to breaking news, Suleiman. Like, how low is that? Jumping Jonah.
Did you guys see the Access report basically saying that insiders are saying that he's looking to make one final decisive blow in order to claim victory? Sources close to Trump say.
Say it again, sorry.
Saying sources close to Trump. Let me read word for word. Sources close to Trump said president has raised the possibility of a final decisive major military operation, after which he could declare victory this weekend.
Yeah. That's on CBS, right?
Okay. I got it from Axios.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but that's again trying to make it look like, okay, we've got some more breaking news. A squadron of Israeli fighter jets are flying over the West Bank. A squadron of Israeli fighter jets are flying over the West Bank. Heading eastwards is probably the most important thing I had to say. Heading eastwards. So it is just to look like something's going down.
See, did you read what I can't remember, I sent it to you actually, and I don't know, they didn't quote Axios, so I didn't think it was Axios, but this came out from
CBS. Yeah, we've
CBS.
read
They
that.
said yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something's coming. So people on the main channel, we're gonna be moving across to the jokes. People on the Suleiman Ahmed X channel, not now, but once we do the interview, obviously we're gonna move to the second channel, the Moral Resistance channel, and then if the war happens, we're gonna stay on that channel, and everything will be on that channel. And what'll happen is I'll set something up and where people from the Suleiman Ahmed channel can find out that we're there or something, like have it scheduled and then have links there or something. I don't know, but yeah, I wanna we can't switch between the two, and also it'll help us build up this channel as well. So 2 reasons. Andy, jump in.
Sorry, my mic is glitching, so after I'm done talking, I'm going to drop and come back up as my phone's freezing a bit. But yeah, all the pieces are in place for the war. The strata tankers, the Israeli jets in the air. I mean, this kind of seems like this is truly the real deal now. I mean, with everyone canceling the weekend plans, I mean, this seems like it would be very weird to have everyone cancel their weekend plans just for another fake out, and Iran isn't just going to clear its airspace for no reason. And Kalibov releasing that statement saying it's feels like we're about to get attacked. Like, you don't just release a statement like that unless you have a high degree of certainty that you're going to get attacked. But yeah, Iran is definitely ready. They proved they were ready the first time. And whatever missile launchers did get buried, they just dug out because, I mean, the Iranian people are nothing if not resilient. So Trump, again, thinking, okay, I can just do some quick thing and declare victory. I mean, sure, he absolutely, if he accepts Iran's terms, and then his base will eat up anything he claims as a victory. But the point is, if he's not willing to accept Iran's terms, Iran's not just going to let him do 3 days of strikes during the weekend and then go back to the negotiating table again. I don't think Iran, if I were Iran, I wouldn't go back to the negotiating table unless there are actual terms in place. And I will be like, okay, this new round of war will stop once you sign our 10-point plan that we clearly put out, or 14 points, whatever it is that we put out. That's when I would stop if I were Iran. I wouldn't stop again and then do this will they, won't they with negotiations and let Trump manipulate the market and insider trading. Like, once it starts, I think Iran needs to be firm and not stop until their terms are met.
Yeah, let's go to Silver Sailor. Silver Sailor, jump in, give us your thoughts.
Hey, Ohio gozaimasu. Thank you for giving the mic, Suleiman, Beatrix. Salute to our veterans. Remember the fallen. I have 2 quotes that I want to do real quick. Hopefully I could get through without any breaking news coming through. Here we go. Welcome to today's segment of Anti-War Veteran Minute with Silver Sailor. I have 2 quotes to read. One from Dwight Eisenhower. I hate war as only a soldier has lived it can. Only as one has seen its brutality, its futility, and its stupidity. Next quote is Martin Luther King Jr. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. Salute to our veterans. Happy Memorial Day. Silver Sailor out.
Thanks, Russell.
Thank you so much, Peter Saylor. He finds the best, most relevant quotes for what we're discussing on the day. He's brilliant. Literally appreciate you so much.
Let's go to Dr. Tusa. Dr. Tusa, jump in. What's your thoughts?
Hi everyone. Hello, Silly Beatrix. We missed you, Beatrix. I'm anxious about another rounds of attacks, etc. But I do agree that there is no point in negotiations anymore between Iran and the U.S. I feel like the entire war has been about financial gains, and obviously there is a secondary motivation, and that's Israel, expansion into the rest of the Middle East. And I really feel that there shouldn't be another ceasefire. Like if the U.S. goes and strikes Iran 2 days, 4 days, whatever, and they want another ceasefire, I would not go for another ceasefire. And I would use all of my military might in whatsoever form, Gulf states, whatever, to bring this to an end and impose my regional sovereignty and hegemonic ambitions by not letting go of the Strait of Hormuz at all. And I don't know what it takes now, as far as like, okay, if you strike us, we strike you back. At this point, I agree with Suleiman. I don't see how that has served Iran or would serve Iran further in the future. And depending on what they strike, though, like if they start striking civilian infrastructure, then Iran should make sure that UAE doesn't have any hotels anymore. Of course, we've given enough warning so that they can, people can empty the hotels, etc. And if our energy infrastructure is hit, meaning Iran's energy infrastructure is hit, then they have to return the favor to all the Gulf states. And if Israelis, jets, fighter jets, etc., are already, on air, probably going towards Iran, I also would show no mercy towards Israel. And this is coming from someone that, holds compassion and love for life at the highest, most level. But during wartime, you just have to exert your strength and show the enemy that you just can't continue messing with us anymore. And you just can't think that the minute you get your orders or you decide that you're going to start striking, that you can do that. Like, enough is enough already. Like, honestly. Even if this means that this war is going to expand to a more encompassing world war, let it be. So be it. And I just think that for too long, the imperial US and the Israelis' anti-human ambitions, it's just gone on for too long. It's just too much. The suffering of people in Gaza, in Lebanon, and Iran, and their ambitions tied with the Gulf states, it just needs to come to an end. And if that means China needs to get involved, Russia, I mean, we do have their support, meaning Iran. So be it. I think Iran should go really hard this time. I do believe that they have a lot of their ammunition still intact. And according to Iran, they haven't used some of the military might that probably nobody knows they have, etc. And I'm really afraid of this round of strike this time by the U.S. because I see Trump and the administration as really desperate at this time. And when governments are desperate, they do desperate things, just like people. And that it could be, things that are like really beyond imagination. And I hope that's not the case. Yeah, so I just hope that also Iranian leaders safeguard their security in terms of, I don't want them to be the target of a strike. So I really wish them the insight and the self-preservation that is required for these leaders to continue what they've been doing during this war, during the negotiations. We can't lose them. The resistance can't lose them. And I land there.
Yeah. Go, Beatrix.
Yeah, I was just going to say thanks for that, Dr. Tussar. So just before I respond to you, guys, stop botting our space, okay? We don't need the bots. We're happy with the real life figures, so go bot the other ones over on the other side, right? I put bot attack in the title. The second thing I want to say, Dr. Tussar, right? If this happens, I don't believe it's going to happen, but if it happens, it's going to be escalate to de-escalate, right? And I think Iran, if it strikes back, it's going to strike the UAE. I don't think they're going to strike Saudi. And I think that's going to be strategic. Remember, Israel did provide some military equipment to the UAE to prepare them as well. And I think UAE is still the rogue one there. And I think that's what's going to happen. If it happens, and all the signs look like it is going to happen with all the breaking news that Suleiman's giving us. So let's see.
Yeah, for sure. UAE is the culprit for sure amongst the rest of the Gulf states. I'm not sure what it was when Pakistan moved all these military assets to Saudi Arabia. I know they have a contract, like a security agreement, etc. I'm not sure if that is to be used just as a defensive measure or Iran. So I am skeptical regarding Saudi Arabia, and that's just my own personal instinctual opinion. It's not based on anything else, of course, rather than what I've seen historically speaking. Yeah, so those two are my main concerns, actually. Saudi Arabia and UAE.
Yeah, so to answer you, that is a defense pact they've got. It's only if Saudi is attacked, then they will help Saudi defend itself. And to be honest with you, they've probably moved all that stuff there just to suck up to Saudi. I don't think, it's because they foresaw anything or anything like that. It's that whole, we are close to the GCC, we are honoring the this was a few weeks ago, wasn't it, that they did that a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think that's going to happen at this moment in time. And I also think it's strategic because the thing is, there is still something within the Muslim community somewhere of this sectarian divide. And I think if UAE is attacked by Iran, but Saudi isn't, then I think mentally it will bridge that gap, that divide, the sectarian divide. People will think, Suleiman says that public perception shouldn't matter to them. And yeah, but the amount of civilians killed and the things that are done, it shouldn't. But I think it does. So that's why I think that's going to happen. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just going by gut instinct here. Let's go to Andy, jump in.
Trump has a golf course in Dubai, so I think Iran should literally take the fight to Trump in that case. I mean, obviously make sure no civilians are there, but I mean, yeah, rough up and throw some drones into the fairways or the clubhouse of his golf course in Dubai. I think that's a perfectly fair target. I mean, the
Did he
U.S.
cut out? Or is it me?
No, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
I can hear
Yeah,
you. I can hear
exactly.
you, Suleiman.
If the U.S. murdered schoolgirls in cold blood, so
Okay,
I
some
think
breaking news. 1 second. A huge amount of fighter jets over Iraq right now. Huge amount of fighter jets reported over Iraq. Sorry, back to you.
Andy.
yeah, I said the U.S. killed schoolgirls, 170 little girls in cold blood. And what better way to make Trump feel repercussions for that than make him feel a little bit of economic pain, just a little bit. That doesn't bring those girls back, but that is a perfectly legitimate target. I mean, if the president's gonna murder schoolgirls and then try to pin it on Iran, then I think Trump needs to face some personal repercussions and see one of his beautiful golf courses lit on fire. That's what I do. I mean, that seems like a perfectly legitimate target, especially since he's using all of these Gulf slave states to make so much money. I mean, yeah, maybe tell Trump, like, hey, you're not welcome in this region. That would be a great symbolic move. And really, I think kind of maybe make Trump think, like, hey, Iran's not messing around. I think that would even send more of a message to Trump personally. That's just my take. What do you guys think?
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it, to be honest with you? He's got freaking golf courses all over the world. He's got one in Scotland as well, to be honest. The reason he's got that is because he says his mum was Scottish, so he's got to have a golf course there to honour his late mother. Oh, weird thing. We'll see, Andy, we'll see. You think it's going to go kinetic?
I mean, all of these planes in the air, it seems like it's preparing for something. It just feels like you're not putting all these planes in the air, everyone canceling their meetings, only for it to just be a nothing burger. I don't know if it's going to be
I just want
longer.
to, just quickly, I'm going to give it back to you. I just want to remind Joa, I just want to remind you that you said if this got kinetic again, you would admit that Israel controls America, right? Do you remember that? I can't hear him. Is he speaking?
No.
No, his WEF mic went silent because he has to get his instructions from his
No,
handlers.
bro. No, bro. Disavow. Disavow.
Simon, Suleiman, some breaking news from UAE. They've detected intense GPS jamming.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that like an hour ago. But yeah, thanks for reminding us. By the way, there's no harm in reminding people because new people are jumping in now because I think people are expecting something to come soon. Joe, sorry, yeah, you speaking?
Yeah, I
Instructions.
had said if it wasn't a target just on LNG, because I think they do want to weaken LNG, and even I made a post earlier. I go a weekend of LNG versus LNG. U.S. dominate, monopolizing LNG.
No,
While getting the allies attacked.
Joe, no. So if you
No,
remember, this was week before your LNG theory or whatever. You
yeah, but
said
now it's
that.
different.
Oh, now it's different, is it? Okay. Things have
Yeah,
changed since then.
yeah. You change. You have new info.
Suleiman, that's the small print that he didn't give you at the time. You see, this is how the Krasensteins
No,
operate.
you get new info, right? I always said it was either protect the dollar or to bring in stables. Now I understand that you could do both at the same time, which I didn't. I had a blind spot there. But that includes that striking packages, striking places in Iran that would cause Iran to strike LNG plants in GCC would be part of their plan. So we will see. If it's not LNG, if it's not energy, that they attack, then I'll say, okay, yeah, then they're doing it exactly for Israel.
We are doing it for Israel. This whole thing's
We'll
been for
find out.
Israel. This whole thing has been for Israel, Joa. Like, why are you gaslighting?
Because I think Israel is a forwarding base of U.S., not the other way around.
Yeah, we saw that. We totally saw that with the Thomas Massey elections, right?
Thomas Massey that's U.S. politics. You can buy politicians, including Trump, including Biden, including
And
whoever
who's the
you want to put
buyer?
in.
And tell us who's the buyer.
Yeah, it wasn't Israel, right? But it was for Israel,
Israel's
correct?
news network Hertz said this is the most important election for Israel, their own media.
Yeah, I get
Did
that.
Joe cut out again, or
No, can you hear me, Solomon?
is it me? Wow, it's basically been really targeted. I'm trying to
Yeah, we
refresh.
can hear.
Do people hear me or no? Or is it just
Yes, we
Solomon?
can. We
Yeah, we can hear you, Sarah. You know what they've done is they've freaking botted the space to make it crash just in case something kinetic does take off. This is pathetic. They botted it and the bots are now falling off. Oh, thank God the bots are fallen off. So that's why Suleiman's glitching out because I want it to crash, you see. Ridiculous. Hopefully he'll be back. But Joe, go ahead. We can hear you.
Guys, highly likely the space crashes. If it does, be having your notifications on, and we will restart. It didn't even show me the purple thing around my name, so I couldn't even get back into the space again. I had to quickly do it on my other phone. I'm gonna switch back into the other phone now, but this was crazy. So if you can do that for me, that would be awesome. Whatever I said, I forgot what I said now. Yeah, retweet and wherever. But sorry, back to whoever was speaking. Sorry, apologies.
And I don't apologize. It was just Jonah. But
I don't think
guys,
you can hear me,
on
can you?
Suleiman's profile.
we can.
Can you hear me now,
He's
Solomon,
going
or
to
no?
switch
We
phones.
can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now, Joe. I can hear you.
Yeah. Press the bell icon. Go to Suleiman's profile. Press the bell icon. Press all notifications. If it crashes, because they are botting our space freaking hard, to crash the space, then he will restart immediately. Jonah, go ahead. I do agree with you actually on that, which I never thought I'd say those words. But that it was American politics. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just think I think Israel's a U.S. forwarding base, and not the other way around. Yes, do Jews and Israelis have a lot of power on U.S. politics? Yes, they were the wealthiest per capita people in America, and America is for sale. You can donate as much as you like to a politician to make sure he wins, and that's what happened.
Who's buying though? It's Israel. It's the APEC lobby. Like to totally deflect on that is pretty questionable, and the reason why Americans are still asleep.
To say it's Israel takes away from the fact that you have people acting as double agents in America who are American citizens who don't vote for America, they vote for Israel. So it's not Israel doing it, it is American citizens, and we need a solution to
No, it's not.
people who yes, it is American
No,
citizens.
it's not.
What are you
Every
talking about?
American you talk to in the real world is done with Israel. It's just these bullcrap elections that somehow are these votes. Where do they come from? These mail-in ballots. All of this stuff is
Mo,
just
what is
bullcrap. The
Adelson? Is
elections
she an
have been
American
rigged.
citizen or no?
No, she's not. She was born in Tel Aviv. She became a
She's an
citizen.
American citizen.
Yeah, but she was born in Tel Aviv, and that's the
Okay.
problem.
So you have a
People
problem
like
with
you,
your laws that you
though, people like you who kind of defend that people like her are the problem in America. Why we have to
I'm
pay
defending, I'm telling you
$5
that
per
there's a
gallon of
problem.
gas, guys? Now everyone is paying at the gas
Mo,
station,
I'm
and they're gonna
telling you
keep
that
paying because
she
of
is a
guys like
problem,
Joa.
and you're saying, I'm telling you that she's a problem. You're like, no, don't look at her, just look at Israel. And that's
You're
stupid
whitewashing
because
Israel's
she's an
involvement.
American citizen.
It's whitewashing. JFK tried to stop them. Look what happened.
JFK tried to stop a lot of things, and I think it was more about the Fed than anything else. That's not about
And
Israel.
who runs the Fed?
Not a lot of
And
things.
you,
He tried to stop their nuclear weapons program, and
well,
he tried to
look,
stop
guys, if
APEC.
you guys don't know the difference between a Jew, an American Jew, and an Israeli and a Zionist, then I don't know what to tell you when you just want to conflate all of them up into one big ball. Okay, if
Sounds
you
like
want to
some,
do that, then this might not be the
You brought up
geopolitical
the
space
word.
for you.
You brought up the Jew thing. We brought up Israel. This has nothing to do with Jews. It's elite. It's an elitist group,
Did
and they're Kabbalists.
Israel
They're not real.
donate towards
They're not real
Massey?
Jews. They're not real
Did
Jews.
Israel donate
I
to
never used the
Massey?
word Jew. They are Moloch worshippers.
Okay.
They are not Jews.
Okay, but you should, because it wasn't Israel that donated to Massey.
It was Miriam Adelson, and she's an Israeli.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's born in Israel, Tel Aviv.
She's
but she's
more
also
of
an
an
American.
Israeli than a U.S. citizen.
Exactly, but she's also an
you're
American,
missing the
which is a
point.
problem.
But Joe, you're missing the point. The point is, even if she is an American citizen, right? Just like Christian Zionists, right? They're not Jewish, they're not from Israel, but they're pushing an agenda that is pursuing another country's goals and projects over the
Thank you for
US.
seeing it
The
my way
country,
now, Dr. Atusa, because my whole point is you have
no, but
Americans
no,
that are
but
putting
you
other countries
interrupted
in
me.
front of America.
Okay,
That is my
okay,
point
now
that you're
you're
putting back to
interrupting.
me as if it's yours.
No, no, you didn't know. You didn't let me finish. No, that's not your point. You
My
didn't let me finish. I said, even if non-Israeli citizens and non-Jews just keep on funding the pro-Israeli agenda politicians, then you can say that they're working for Israel and they're working on the behest of Israel. I don't care if they're Jew or not. Most of them are atheists anyway and satanic worshipers anyway. Even the Christian Zionists, they're not Christians. They're not Christians. So I'm saying that you're not seeing it the way the rest of us are seeing it. It doesn't matter where she's originally from or not. Yes, she is a dual citizen. Most of them are dual citizens. A bunch of them in Congress and the state, Senate, etc., are dual citizens. But go with their actions. Go with what they're supporting. If they consistently support the agendas of Israel that works against US, then they're working for Israel. Why would you say they're working for the US? I mean, you have it the other way around. So no, I didn't say what you
That's
were
not what I
saying.
said, Dr. Atusa. You're misplacing what I said. I'm saying if you want to blame Israel for what Marian Adelson did, you lose, right? Because the problem is not Israel. The problem are American citizens who are donating money not for the benefit of America, but for the benefit of another country. That includes Christians. Okay, that includes Jews, that includes Zionists, that could include Russians, that it could include whatever country you want. Money needs to be out because you don't know the motives of the citizen who is putting up that money.
Where did
And you're telling me, no, it's Israel because you want to blame Israel. Yes, Israel's horrible. I've been fighting against Israel forever. That's not the issue, though, that's happening in America. Do you understand? They're
no,
doing it for
it is
So
Israel,
the
you're
but it's
issue.
not
trying
them.
so you're trying to say that the poor middle class Americans are donating to AIPAC
Yeah, they are.
billions of
No, they're
dollars.
not, Joa. You're a gaslighter.
So that unbelievable,
Joker,
You're a
are
literal
you
unbelievable.
kidding
Like
me?
gaslighter.
this is
Middle
like
class America is
You're
unbelievable.
broke. They're
pushing a
not
Zionist
donating
agenda.
nothing. Middle class America has no more money. They're not donating nothing. They're spending it all at the gas station right now, $6 per gallon
Who
in
the
most
hell do you
places.
think
So
evangelists are,
everything you're
Joker?
saying is
Joker, who
gaslighting for
are
the genocidal
evangelists?
state. And now I see
Who
exactly where the
are,
co-host was
look,
coming from when she
bro,
said you
go
sound like
back
you're
in your
going to the
hole and close
WEF.
your mouth because
Go
you don't
back
know
to
what you're talking
WEF
about.
and keep kissing Klaus
Go
Schwab's
look
shoes
up,
because you all are going
go
down,
look
Joa.
up,
Mark my words.
go, shut up, dude. Who the hell are evangelists? What are they socially, economically? What are they? Tell me, Mofit.
It doesn't matter. Who donated the $32
It
million?
does matter. That
Who
does matter.
donated
Answer the fucking
The
the
big
question.
one,
$32 million
Answer the question.
to Thomas Massey's
Answer.
opponent? Where did that $32 million come from? Could you answer that? Where did that $32 million come
Answer
from?
the question, Joker. Answer the
You
question,
can't
Mofit.
answer that because you're a
No, because
gaslighter.
you know you made a
You're like, oh,
mistake.
it's the middle class Americans. It's Americans donating the money. No American is donating millions of dollars like this Israel entity, genocidal entity, AIPAC is. They gave $32 million to Thomas Massey's opponent. That was a
Yeah,
breaking
where did that
record.
come
Was
from?
that
Where did
broken
that come
record
from?
from the people, or was it
Where did that
these
come
billionaires?
from?
And all this
Where
stuff that you're
from
saying, dude.
can you?
millionaires,
No,
and billionaires, from corporate
Oh,
interests,
APAC
all
didn't give
of
money.
which are,
Hey, did APAC give money?
yes, I'm talking about,
Okay. Do only
I'm
millionaires give
saying
money?
they
Do only
donate to
millionaires
AIPAC.
give money to APAC? Do only?
Yes, for the
majority.
most part, the amount of,
No,
I mean,
no.
Joa, come on,
Incorrect.
like
Incorrect.
they just
Joa, here's
spent,
where you're
Incorrect.
they
incorrect,
just
right?
spent,
Here, let me.
they just spent $30 million against a senator like Thomas Massey, where he had more supporters, more middle class supporters by far. And if you look at the night where they gave their concession speech, etc., there is 50 people at the at victory gathering of the other dude, and there is hundreds of people for Thomas Massey. You're trying to tell me it's the ordinary Americans that love Israel so much that are giving their hard-earned money to AIPAC to the tune of $1 billion, where Miriam Adelson can donate 250 million or billion or million to Donald Trump. You're trying to tell me that money is coming from ordinary Americans because they love Israel so much? I mean, come on, Joa. You
Doctor,
should know better.
can I speak now?
You've been
Yeah.
speaking
Can I speak?
bullcrap for an hour now.
Okay, the only one speaking bullcrap is you, Mofit, and you don't belong on a stage anywhere. You're not qualified, right? When
Sounds
you
like
say
what a
to
Zionist would
people
say.
that you don't know, when you say to people that you think middle class are donating to this, yes, AIPAC gets funded also by middle class. There's also not only AIPAC that funded the campaign against Massey. There was a Trump fund, that super PAC, that also funded it. Guess who funded that? It wasn't just millionaires. You have a problem in America with U.S. citizens who support Israel instead of supporting America. That goes across the board. It is not an economical thing.
It's because
Do
of
you
I can add
people
to
understand?
like you,
that.
though,
Joel,
that
let me
lied
add to
to
that.
them.
Joker, let me add to this real quick. Joel, you have to realize that this.
Let them, Cyrus, let them
Yeah,
continue.
it's relevant. So
No,
I
no,
just
but I
want
want
to
them to continue. Like, you don't have to be in
go
every
ahead.
single
Go
thing.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
if I could respond, it's Joa. It's because of Americans like you that gaslight them, that tell them that Israel's not the problem. So they continue believing in these genociders like Trump. We need to be honest. We need to stop being scared little rats, and we need to be straight up and call out the enemy for who it is, and it's Israel. And that's why we're paying these gas prices right now, because Israel started the war with Iran that we're seeing right now. So let's stop acting like we're not seeing this inflation skyrocket. And you're talking about the Fed. Oh, it was the Fed. Who owns the Fed? If you look at who owns the Fed, it's literally the Rothschilds. Who made Israel
Yeah,
a state?
what are they?
Who made Israel a
Where do
state,
they
Joa? It was the
are they
Rothschilds. So stop with the gaslighting. We need to end the Fed
okay,
too.
okay. Bro, you play like you're like a
Joel, just
cartoon
before I
character.
go back to
You're like
you,
a
just
cartoon
one second, Joel.
character. No, sorry. You're like a cartoon
I'm
character
going
of
to give it to you. I
detectives.
just want to say one thing. Whoa, just one thing. Firstly, Suleiman, we need to make someone co-host because I can see a mic request. But Joel, I just want to clarify one thing, right? And I'm going to give a mic right back to you. This is a fallacy that AIPAC gave 32 million because the biggest donor was MAGA KY, which
Exactly.
was 7.5 million.
Which is not a
There was
Jewish
RJP.
which is not a Jewish organization.
It's not. It's not.
Thank
United
you.
Democracy Project,
And these
RJC
people
Victory
talk out
Fund,
their
AIPAC.
ass and don't know how
Are
to
they
put two facts
pro-Israel though?
together
Are they
and
pro-Israel
jump
though?
from Israel to
Are they
something else.
pro-Israel though?
Yes, they are.
Exactly.
So is the problem Israel or is it the people in
That's all we
America
need to know.
funding it?
That's all we
Wait,
need
I
to
don't
know.
even get what the debate's
They
about.
have found a new way. They have found a new way to sort of avoid the money going from AIPAC. So they have organized different routes through which they're spending the same money donating the pro-Israeli candidates. I guess, hello, please, and catch up with the news. Now they're trying to avoid the money going through AIPAC, so it's going through other
I'll
channels
make it
to
really
make sure that
simple.
people
Okay.
aren't so.
I'll make it really simple for all the
Okay.
idiots on stage. Okay. Yeah,
And there
Joa,
I'll
goes
be
make it
the
really
ad
respectful. You
simple.
hominem.
don't
I'll
have
make
to
He
it
can't
simple.
defend his
disrespect.
point. Just
I
because
don't
You
have to
he's
don't
a
have to
Zionist, you got to start
disrespect
No,
other
saying.
you
people
call
that
me
oppose your
you call
opinion.
me a white
You
supremacist the
do
other day,
not
and you're
I didn't
talking
call you
about
that.
disrespect.
That wasn't me.
disrespect. No, Dr.
Do not
Tusa did.
disrespect.
Okay, guys,
You
let
called
me
me a
Do not
just
white
wait,
supremacist.
disrespect.
guys. I think it's okay, one second, guys. So look, I think I don't even understand where the disagreement is. I
Because they
don't think
don't
Dr.
they conflate
Atusa.
things that are
One second,
stupid.
one second, one second. So I don't think Dr. Atusa or Joker, I think they're not making the argument that American citizens that are either Jewish Zionist or Muslim Zionists are not basically financing these campaigns for the foreign nation as well as for Zionist interests. And I think that's what you were trying to say, Joe, right?
No, what they
Oh,
were
you were.
saying is
Okay,
that
then.
this is
I've
what
locked
they
in.
were saying, from my understanding, is that
No, what
this
was
is
your
Israel's
position? What
fault.
was your position that they had a problem
My
with?
position is that what happened to Massey isn't Israel did not make that happen. What made that happen are American citizens. Because if you took out
What
all
type of
of
American
Israel's
citizens?
money,
What type of
hold on,
American citizens?
Jews, Christians, people who donated to
No, but
the
when you
MAGA
said
pact,
Jews, 1 second, when you said Jews and Christians, do you mean Zionists? Yes or no?
yeah, all Zionists, apparently all of them are Zionists.
Yeah. So because when you said they weren't, so when, for example, Mariam Edelson, who I'm assuming in this conversation you're classing as an American citizen, she was born in Israel.
Right, and
She's a
that to
dual.
me is the problem.
She's a dual citizen. Or, for example, Singer, who is an American citizen but is funding Massi because of his what he believes is two reasons, that basically his
Yep.
position on Israel and Zionism, right?
Yeah,
So
he donated to MAGA KY, which was also
yeah,
part of
yeah,
the
but
funds against him.
he's not funding this because MAGA's fighting in many elections. He's doing
Yeah,
this.
and he's not Israeli though either.
Yeah, so he's a Jewish Zionist, right?
Exactly. So my whole point, these two
No,
keep
but I
trying to
just
say it's
repeated that, and you
Israel,
said
it's
no, that's not
Israel,
your
it's Israel.
position. What
No,
from what
my
I
position
explained,
is that
which
you have a problem with the laws in America that allow American citizens to donate in favor of another country.
that's
And they
true.
started pushing back to me because I wouldn't
Oh,
say it's Israel's fault. Israel's not the one that donated the money. It is
well,
American
it's
citizens.
yeah,
That's
yeah, that's
why
actually
that's what
worse.
you
So
need
it's
to
not
solve.
okay. Okay,
It
so
is
that's what,
worse. And
but
that's why I
yeah,
say they keep
yeah, but where do they
floating
disagree?
over
No, but when Joe,
because
the
they keep
problem is no, but Joe, you're being argumentative as well, because when I said that just now, you said no, that's not your opinion.
what's not my opinion.
When I said, is your opinion, Joe, that we've got American citizens who put
That
the
was the whole
interest,
point I was making.
then why did you say no when I repeated it?
But I misunderstood you.
Okay, can I just say
Okay.
something? Because I understood Joe's point, and so
Oh,
and
damn.
actually, I think
Bird and
initially,
feather.
Can I
well,
finish the point because I keep getting interrupted? My whole problem with people that go, it's Israel, it's Israel, it's Israel. Israel is a problem, okay? But when you say what happened in America with Nazi is Israel, 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 you negate the big problem, which are America's citizens allowed to use their money in favor of another country, especially when they have dual citizenship or not even dual citizenship. That is the problem in America because without that, Israel has no power in America. Do you
True.
understand? And they keep glossing over by trying to
No,
say
but
it's
we agree with
Israel.
that.
It's
We agree with
Israel.
that, though. We
No,
never
you
said
don't.
we never.
You just fought
Where
with
do
me
these
for a
people
half
get their
hour and
money
called me an
from,
idiot.
Joa? Where do these people get their money from? Like Miriam
It's
Edelson,
not
like
from
all of them. They
Israel.
do get it from
It's not.
Israel because Israel put them in the
Oh
position
my
to
What,
be what they're
Mariam
God.
at
Edelson
today.
gets her money from, like, basically
No,
scamming
apparently from
Americans?
Israel.
They don't see
Has
the
Netanyahu
she got, like,
difference.
the
apparently gives
$3
biggest
money to
billion,
empire?
Marion Anderson.
guys. $3 billion before this genocide happened. Now they're getting trillions of dollars a year. You guys think they don't funnel
Exactly.
this money?
Okay.
There is an ecosystem. There is a financial
okay.
ecosystem. We
So
our tax dollars are funding Israel in the tune of billions of dollars annually for the last 20 god.
Yeah, but no one disagrees with that, Dr.
Yeah,
Tusa. You're
but there
all
is a
talking past each
funneling.
other.
There is a funneling. We send them money.
No, but Dr.
They give
Tusa,
us
Dr.
money.
Tusa, you're repeating points that everybody agrees with. I'm asking you, do you disagree with Joa? I don't know what's going on, because it's like you're both making points that are right,
Yes.
but you're both arguing with each other. So what I'm saying is, in
Because you're
terms
making
of,
points that
do
aren't
you
relevant
agree
to the
with Joa?
conversation.
Do you agree with Joa that Miriam Edelson is someone who has made a large amount of her wealth in the United States of America, but despite making that wealth
No,
in the
they
United
think
States,
they think she gets
Joa, you
paid
just let
by
me finish.
Israel.
You
Don't
keep
speak
interrupting,
on
bro.
our behalf.
Yeah, so the Mariam Edelson has made the vast majority of her money in America, but despite making that money in America, she
China.
has used that money in order to further Israeli and Zionist interests, because they're also furthering their interest in the United States of America. They're taking away free speech. They're doing all these things, and same in the UK and all these countries. So, do you agree with that point, or do you think it's solely this money is just coming from
No,
Israel?
no, I do agree with that. But the point of debate wasn't about where the money is coming from. It was who's controlling the politicians and why. It wasn't about where the money is coming from. The money could be coming out from under the ground, but what is the motivation behind it, right? What is the motivation behind it? Because at the end of the day, the outcome is all the agendas of one country in the Middle East is getting pushed from our politicians, lawmakers, president, etc., is being pushed forward over and superimposing the American interest, the US interest. That was my point. That it could be Christian Zionists, it could be just evangelicals, it could be the Jewish Americans, dual citizens, etc. My point was they're all supporting an agenda of a country in the Middle East over the country to which they're citizens of, the US.
So, Dr. Tusa, let me just jump in here because I thought initially your
Yeah, she
first
switched.
time you
They
responded to
totally
Joel,
switched.
Stop
They
you
it,
you
they're now
Joa. Stop
they're
well,
now
it.
I
Only
arguing
think
my
I
because
think
point.
she's
Beatrix say
misunderstood.
something, that
Well,
doesn't.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
Dr. Tusa, please let me.
Look, they
Yeah, no,
totally
no. Let me
switched,
finish.
Beatrix, and now they're making the point I was making.
No, no,
It's
she didn't. I
I
think
hilarious.
didn't
she
switch.
misunderstood.
I
I think
never
she
switched.
misunderstood your point, Joel. Wait, I think she misunderstood because look, this is happening for Israel, okay? But it's the same that happens in the UK, exactly the same that happens in the UK. But it is the people in the UK that make it happen. When you look at the biggest pact that donated against Massey, it was a MAGA pact. Now, I'm guaranteeing you, and I looked up who donates to that MAGA pact, and it's average everyday Americans that donate. Like middle class, lower class, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. Now, they're doing it because MAGA's a cult. We can all agree with that, right? Trump supporters are a cult. They will fund Trump no matter what it takes. They probably have no idea even about Israel, Iran, and stuff. They just believe that all Muslims and Trump's going to save our country and all of this stuff, right? We've heard it all before. So, what Joe was saying is, and I think you'll agree with this, that as people now, we've got to the stage where we cannot absolve responsibility of what's happening in our country and simply say, it's Israel, right? We have to take that responsibility and say, actually, do you know what? There are nefarious people in our country who will put Israel before America, but these are Americans as well. We need to hold them to account as Americans because it's happening in our nation. That's all it is. And I think you were quite close to that. And I think that Joker would agree with that as well. But that was the point. I read something today. Actually, it's kind of off topic, not really, but I won't go into it. But that was the point, Dr. Atusa. And I think you were really close to that. I just think Jonah's not very good at explaining himself. Do you know what I mean? So I have to jump
Thank you,
in.
Beatrix.
Beatrice, I'd like to add to
So,
this, if I may.
what I understood from what he was saying was that he thinks that actually U.S. government is using Israel, and it's not the other way around. Joe, isn't that what you said? Like when I joined the conversation
Yes, the
first,
U.S. government does use Israel.
yeah. So that was based on that I entered the conversation. It wasn't any other disagreement. It was, but I don't believe. Okay, I mean, so you were saying that U.S. is actually using Israel to push a certain agenda globally.
No. I'm saying U.S. uses Israel as a destabilizing force in that region in order to keep things destabilized so they can control the energy market. That is something that the West has done. That's something we did in Latin America. That's the same thing that the Brits had done. The whole reason why Britain went into Palestine to begin with was to destabilize the region so they could get the oil out of Iran. Right. That's why they went there. And you can see actual videos, news broadcasts talking about the pipeline that they're building and why they're doing what they're doing in Palestine and why they're sending Jews there. Right. That's exactly what they did. So this is no different than what the West has been doing for 400 or 500 years. Right. We've always used forwarding bases to destabilize regions in order to control their energy. We've done that. That does not mean that Israel does not use America. Of course they do, but it's not actually Israel using America. It's American citizens, and we need to address them because I look at them as traitors to America, right? But you guys want to whitewash the fact of what their crimes are when they're donating and acting as a foreign agent and donating money in order to elect certain politicians that go against what's good for America. And you guys are like, no, it's not them. It's Israel. Bullshit.
No,
It's
we didn't
American
say it wasn't
citizens.
them, Joe. We didn't
You
say it
did.
wasn't them
You
either.
yeah,
That's
you
not we
did.
We
didn't.
said
That's not
it
Mofit.
what
was
we
them
said.
too.
Mofit,
That's
you
the
said
difference. That's where
you
you're not
said
listening. That's where you're not
you
listening.
said
Beatrix is right.
you
You
said
don't listen.
Joa.
You just start to argue right away.
No, I'm not the one who's arguing. You
Israel's
guys
not
did.
doing our bidding. Joe, Israel's not doing our bidding. That's very dangerous messaging. America does not
Oh,
want the
jeez.
Middle East destabilized. That's categorically wrong, and it's very dangerous. We had another panelist here the other day. I was like, well, if that was the case, how does it benefit the United States for there to be a
Cyrus,
genocide?
did you just say America does not want the Middle
No,
East
hey, so but Beatrix,
destabilized?
let me make this the last point. We had another,
Iraq,
we
Libya.
had another.
Is that just a figment of our
Hey, we had another.
imagination?
Hey, but look, these are all Zionist talking points. We had another panelist here that's
But America did
look.
it.
Let me explain. How does it benefit the United States for it to be a genocide against the Palestinians? America doesn't want Gaza. It's a tiny piece of land. This is all Israel's wishes. They
And yet there
wanted
is
Syria
Trump
destabilized.
releasing the video of him
They
setting up the
wanted
border
Syria
police and
destabilized. They
taking
wanted
land
Libya
there
destabilized.
and
You
building the
guys are
Trump
white.
Tower there. Sorry, Cyrus, I have to stop you. America does not want Gaza, and yet Trump has got his border peace and he's getting his piece of land and he's sending out videos of him lying on the beach with Netanyahu. Like, are you
And we
crazy?
didn't want
That's
Syria.
Kushner.
And we didn't want
That's
Syria.
it. Trump
Cyrus,
is an Israeli pretty much at
we
this
didn't want
point.
Syria. Syria, we went there and we were taking their oil. What are you talking about? We took their
Trump is
oil.
an Israeli at this point. They have
Israel did
minuscule
not.
amount of oil.
Israel
They
did
have a
not.
minuscule amount of oil.
We were
They have a
taking their
minuscule.
oil.
They have an insignificant. It doesn't even move the
It
meter. They have an
doesn't matter.
insignificant amount of
We
oil.
took their oil, not Israel. We
We
were
put
taking it.
Al
Joe,
Nusra
where the
was funded
disconnect
by
is,
Mossad. Mossad ran Al Nusra. Gilani is a Mossad agent.
And we blocked.
Yeah,
And we blocked.
keep filibustering. You're
Okay.
whitewashing Israel's crimes.
Okay.
It's very dangerous. We had your buddy was here. One of your buddies
literally the
was here
biggest
saying,
moron on this stage.
say what you want.
1 second. If he was funded by Mossad, why did America put a 10 million bounty on his head and then remove it and then give him the red carpet treatment and then kiss his freaking hand in the White House so quickly?
Because Israel's running our foreign policy. That's the problem. We are beholden to Israel. That's what we're speaking about. It's not the other way around. You guys are whitewashing. You're confusing your listeners. You're helping the Zionists. You guys are helping the Zionists. Just know that. You're their best spokespeople right now. You guys are the best
started by
spokesperson
America,
right now.
Cyrus.
Hey, let me explain. Hey, look, one of you. Hey,
Can you answer the
explain this.
question?
Explain this.
Was ISIS started
No,
by America?
I asked the other. Answer my other question about the genocide.
it was
Another
started by
panelist
the
was here.
CIA that's ran by Israel, Joe.
Before I was cut off, and one of your buddies was here the other day. I asked a direct question: If Israel's an American outpost, don't worry, I'm not going to name names when they're not here.
John not got anybody. That's fake news. John not got anybody.
So if the genocide in Gaza doesn't benefit America, and his response was, oh well, weren't they founded by genociding the Native Americans? So they're equating modern times in the rules-based world, post World War II, post Holocaust. And that's a Zionist talking point. So this is a light version. What you guys are doing, it's a light version of that. This is all the same. It's the same talking point.
You asked me a question.
You're confusing your listeners. This is an Israeli endeavor. They're the danger. They're the problem. You guys are whitewashing. It's very dangerous.
Okay, can I reply now?
Yeah,
because
Joe,
this is ridiculous. Can I
Okay.
reply?
No, this is wrong. This is wrong.
100% wrong.
Joe, but this is wrong. Go on, Joe, then I'm going to
Look,
respond after you because this is crazy. Listen, our military companies did not make billions of dollars for funding Israel with arms. We are innocent. We didn't go and destroy the Middle East. That was all Israel. We are innocent.
So stupid.
Like, seriously, if you go and kill somebody and then I make the money off it, you're as complicit
Israel
as I
was
am.
founded with the
Joe,
Rothschild family. The Balfour Declaration was with the Rothschild family. You guys are not saying this was going on before the creation of Israel. You guys are minimizing the hidden hand. There is a hidden hand at play. There is a hidden hand at play that runs everything, this whole charade, and you guys are whitewashing it.
It's America funded it. America did it.
Joe,
Israel was founded by the Rothschild family and the Great Britain.
Israel was not founded by the Rothschild family. Okay,
go read the Balfour Declaration. Who's it written to?
Yes.
Who is it written to? Who's the Balfour Declaration written to?
Well, I don't know what's happened to this conversation. It was Joe and then Tucson, and now it's Cyrus with Joe. But by the way, I've got an interview coming up in about 30 seconds, so go ahead. Wrap up your points.
Can I finish? Look, ISIS was started by America, so was Al Qaeda. That is not Israel who started
Israel,
it.
Not America.
What?
They were started
Mossad
by the CIA. who's owned by Israel. Let's not forget that. They're owned by Israel. For you to say the government's not controlled by Israel, that's where the disconnect is. I think we all agree on every other thing that we've all discussed. The only disconnect is that you think that the government's not controlled by Israel, and it definitely is, and we saw that time and time
I
again
said
throughout
they're
history.
mutually. I said mutually. They use each other. But to say that America does not use Israel, as what you guys are saying, is absolutely ridiculous. When the country that's profited the most from it is America, it is not actually Israel that's profited the most from it.
That's not true. That last
Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Do we have
Really?
free education, free healthcare, free settlers that live, not working? Do we have that here, or do they have that in Israel?
Joel,
That's how you measure. That's how you measure.
Whatever.
Questionable.
What I mean.
Look, I'm going to mute everyone because I don't get a chance to talk. So I'm just going to talk for the next 30 seconds and let's see how you like it, because you guys don't want to hear the truth. America uses Israel. America benefited. You don't measure success based on, do you have free healthcare? They do. So they're successful and you're not. That's a stupid way to measure. This is why I don't trust any of your COVID stuff, to be honest, because it's absolutely asinine to measure it on one metric. And then you make connections that are false. America benefited because America built their whole entire empire on oil. Do you understand? The petrodollar. Why are they able to control the petrodollar? Because they basically control the Middle East. Why? Because they were able to destabilize it. Why? Because they use Israel part of the time, and the other times they do it themselves. Please get that through your head. This is not hard. That it goes both ways. And yes, Israel at times put pressure on America to get what Israel wants, but America also definitely uses Israel. And it's evident when you go and look at, you think they went to Libya for Israel? No, they went to Libya because they were going to do the gold dinar. Do you think they went to Syria for Israel? Partially, they said we need to keep Israel the only nuclear power in that region to keep it destabilized. That's in the emails from Hillary Clinton. And who went into Syria? We did. We went and took their oil. Why did we do it? Because we needed to block off the pipeline from China. And that China is not a threat to Israel. It's a threat to America.
Cool. I've got the interview now, so it's a bit awkward because you're in the middle of your debate. So I don't know what to do here. But I think we'll just jump onto the interview, and then I think the moral of the story is this: Israel controls America. Is basically just to kind of summarize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Summarize.
And also
TLDR to debunk Joe's point: Israel controls America.
And also, Sully, I just want to add something. What Joe did by silencing everyone and muting everyone, it's the perfect scenario of censorship of the opposing opinion. Exactly
He's a
how
closet
liberal.
MAGA, Dr. Tusa.
Exactly.